Well, hey y'all, hey, what's going on? Where's
Hey.
Where's Molson Man so I can do my well, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carol Baskin here. No, I didn't kill Don. I have no idea where he is. I think he went to Ecuador. I don't know. Oh wait, no, not Ecuador. Costa Rica. I don't know.
Did you see new things coming out about them?
Another new one because there Netflix has the new one
No, this
and
is like a lifetime kind of movie.
oh god. No, I
Yeah,
can't.
with
No, I haven't. No.
actors and actresses.
No, Lifetime stopped being good, in the late 90s.
I agree.
Their movies are
Th-
caca.
Their true crime is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Hey, Heather, whatever. Hey, Allie79. Hey, Tony. Hey, I've learned a lot. Welcome back. Shamida. Hey, hey.
Allie 79. How could you?
Why, what'd she do?
She cheated.
How?
She watched ahead.
Oh, we don't punish people for that, Mo, remember?
I'm just picking.
Allie's over here like Squints from The Sandlot, lotioning and oiling and lotioning. I can't take it no more. Went ahead. Oh gosh.
Well, I obviously cheated because I've been recording it all, so I'm way ahead.
Oh, everybody already knew you were a big old cheater. Everybody knows that.
Well, how's everybody doing? This
Hang on, give me just
lovely.
one tiny second. Please entertain the people, Mo, for me just a second. Okay, please, thank you.
Oh, God. What is today? Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. How's everybody doing on Saturday? Well, I'm still sick, but I'm feeling better, so hopefully I sound a little better. I know my voice is wacky anyway. Gosh, don't leave me like that again.
Oh my it was literally 2 seconds. Literally. I didn't even leave you. All I did was just a mute. You were not abandoned. I was
I got all
here.
nervous.
I th Okay, I've learned a lot. Look, I'm just gonna keep it real as I do, okay? And I done watched The Tiger King twice, and then I watched their new one, and I haven't made it all the way through, but the new Netflix one talks about like Don having to take off. Like he flew in his plane or whatever, and then they go, and I feel like the correct answer is Costa Rica. But now that I'm thinking about it, they lived in Florida. So yeah, Costa Rica's probably right. Oh boy. He's like a rash. just just go away. Do your time and hush. I don't look for me, for my part, I don't care. I'm done. I know
I
everything
agree.
that I can possibly know in that case, and I don't care anymore. I mean, it's not that I don't care about the victims. I think what happened to them is horrible. And I don't think that their lives should ever be forgotten. But the case and Chris Watts, man, let him sit over there in Dodge and, you know, order lube, lotion, and boxers for other inmates. Let him do whatever he's going to do over there. Listen, only time it's acceptable for anybody to bring me any news about Chris Watts is if they ever take his but right out of the Dodge and put him in big boy prison. Now, if they put that fool in big boy prison, your girl wants to know. Not because I'm going to celebrate, but I'll be shocked if they do it. And I just want to know. That's it. I don't think that'll ever happen. So
Yeah, I
that's
don't
the
either.
only time I want to hear anything about Chris Watts. I don't listen, I don't even give a rat's fat kneecap if that fool confesses for the 15th time because I don't believe him anyway. He's a lying liar mouth who tells lies. And whatever he confesses to, isn't going to be the 100% truth. So what's the point? No more books.
Absolutely.
No more. Yeah. Anita, we are not going to the island. I'm going to hopefully have some hopefully the it's starting to happen already. The files on the Watts case are being overwritten in my brain, and I'm not gonna, it is what it is. I didn't even, whatever. My only interest in that case ever was that 35C because I knew no matter what lawyer they got, no matter how much money was raised, he was never going to get a 35C. He did not meet the criteria. And I just wanted to, that's the part I was watching. That's it. I mean, I watched the stuff about the case, you know what I'm saying? But the thing that I talked about was the 35C because I know how to read and I know how to absorb what I read. And it was never about money and it was never about an attorney. He just didn't have anything with merit to base the 35C on. And I know everybody was holding out, thinking there would be a trial. But man, no. All right, so I'm going to say about that because I don't even want to. I hate that island. Hate it.
Yeah, that was too much anyway.
I know I shouldn't have even said all that. Chris Watts doesn't deserve one iota of my witty repartee and humor.
All
Okay.
right, jump on my boat. I'm saving you.
Okay. I'm over here on Hipster Island, which is on the corner of racies and millennials. And and that's where I'm going to be. And I think we're going to start with Ariel Wyszynski, I think is how you say her name. I'm not sure. That's where we're gonna start. I'm gonna
Yes.
go over here to the stream. Yeah. Dorothy! Well, look who it is coming in here to grace the ward with her presence. Hello. How you doing? Hey, Team Psych Ward. All right, let me work on Dorothy. Pay attention to this part that I'm about to do. I'm going to go down here to my settings. I'm going to click share. Then I'm going to click share screen. Then I'm going to click Chrome tab. Then I'm going to click Ezra McCandless YouTube. Then you don't have to worry about your drop down menu or in anything that you don't want to share being shared. See, nobody will see your nobody will see your backstage. Nobody will see nothing. And that's from me to you, Dorothy, because you know I love you.
I don't even think she's here. She said she'll be right back.
Well, she'll hear it at some point. That girl has antenna for when her name is mentioned. She'll get it. All right. I will be right back. Lame. All right, here we go.
Ariel, if I could have you state and spell your name for the record.
I can already tell
Ariel
you we're
Wisniewski,
going to have to do this at a different speed.
Wisniewski.
And Ariel, what's your occupation?
Currently the cleaning supervisor for problem management.
And back in March of 2018, where did you work?
Race Edelayne's Coffee Lounge.
And do you recall working at Racy's on March 22nd, 2018?
I do.
And do
Damn,
you recall seeing Jason Mingle that day?
Racy's
What time
employed
did you
more
see Mr.
people
Mingle
in
arrive?
Wisconsin
Around
than
8
GM did in
What
Detroit.
did you observe?
I know.
You smoke cigarettes?
And on that day, did you see the defendant come to Racy's coffee shop?
I did.
And is that the same defendant present in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Okay,
Could
hold
you
on.
describe what she's wearing and where
Allie
she's
has an
seated?
She's
importante
seated
question
between
that
two
must
people
be
on the left-hand
addressed.
side.
Did you not hear what she just said, Shmita? She said all she did was hang around and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes. That's why she only got the one lung. All right. I'm in one of those moods, y'all. I don't think I'm gonna be able to be serious today. So I'm just letting you know. I need some laughs.
She's wearing a pink blazer and a floral blouse.
Oh,
you.
look.
And
She's
do you
wearing this
recall what
pink
time
blazer
the
every
defendant came to
single
Races?
day.
Around 11 a.m.
Okay, we're gonna have to take a moment for this. This is 89 ways to wear the blazer. And she done got her hair down. She ain't playing. Okay, Anita, but it's too fast. Let me turn it. Let me slow it down just a tad. I'm gonna put it at 1.25, but that's as slow as I go. She's well, she's got her hair down today. Huh.
Yeah, she looks pretty.
She's a pretty girl.
Yeah, she is. She looks exactly like her mom.
Yeah, she does. She got good eyebrows too. I'm not even gonna lie. All right, here we go. But now this is look number 87 of the pink blazer.
And the hairdo.
Had it been some time since
Yeah,
you
this is a
had last
different
seen her at
do.
Races?
Yes.
Do you know how
That's
much
the only
time
way
had
I could
passed?
figure out
Around
it
a
was
month.
different days.
Can you describe for me what the defendant did when she came into Races, what you observed her do?
She came up and she ordered a mocha from me. She paid me, tipped me, and then she talked to people that were seated at the counter.
And was that a little bit unusual?
Yeah.
And why was that unusual?
She rarely paid and she never tipped.
So how did she get her coffee if she didn't pay for it?
Jason usually paid for it.
And can you describe for me the defendant's appearance that day?
She wasn't wearing
Oh,
makeup.
looks
She
cute.
looked pretty solemn.
If she wants to describe actual clothes or.
Overall, I believe she is describing what she observed in the way that she has chosen to describe it. So,
Can you continue?
Yes,
she
Shmita.
was wearing pretty plain clothes.
I've been itching
So
to
fair
make
say
a
she looked
video.
different than you remembered her usually looking.
Yes,
And you, who did you see her go talk to?
Max Martinson.
And did you see her return at all later that day?
No.
Did you know Alex Woodworth?
Yes.
Did you see him at Races on March 22nd, 2018?
No, I didn't.
No further questions.
right. Any cross-examination?
Yes.
I might use that
You,
song
wanna ask a
Nonstop
question
Mom
to
with
Lars
her
for a second,
looks
okay?
and just take
Yeah.
the hit
when
for it being a
Ezra
copyrighted
arrived,
song.
you said it was at 11?
Mhm.
You just need to say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And Max Martinson was already there when she arrived at 11 o'clock.
Yes.
And she spoke with Max Martinson when she was there at 11 o'clock.
Yes.
Jason Mengel had been there earlier in the day at 8 a.m.
Yes.
When Ezra arrived at 11, she didn't speak with Jason. Agreed?
No.
You agree?
Yes.
Do you remember what exactly
Oh, he's got a binder,
Ms.
y'all. Watch
McCandless was
out.
wearing that day?
No.
And she had a flannel shirt on the outside. Do you remember that?
Objection. She just said she didn't remember what she was wearing.
Objection. She probably had her pink blazer on.
Objection,
Marked as
relevance.
exhibit number 632. Does that appear to be the flannel shirt that you observed her
632,
wearing that
y'all.
day?
Yes.
Move for the admission of exhibit 632.
And no objection.
Exhibit 632 will be received, ladies and gentlemen.
Permission to publish.
You may.
Oh my God, 6:32, and we're not even a quarter way through the trial.
I'm
On
trying
the
to
screen
tell
there,
you.
Does that appear to be the same exhibit 632 that had previously handed to you?
Yes.
That's the flannel shirt that you observed her wearing on that day?
Yes.
And when you were working at Racy's, were you a manager of some sort?
No.
Okay. Were you aware that they had a recording system there at Racy's?
Yes.
and that it recorded people coming in and out and leaving that day,
Yes,
just like it did on almost every day, right?
yes,
Did you aware that there was a recording of Ezra walking in that day
yes,
and at the counter
yes,
buying that coffee?
yes.
That's all
Bless
on
these
video.
kids is hard. They're
Yes.
trying to make it like
So then I'm
Seattle
talking
in the
back.
90s
Right.
and
Any
in
redirect?
freaking
Right.
Eau
Thank
Claire,
you, Ms.
Wisconsin.
Wisniewski. You may step down and is she released from her subpoena?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
It's not going to
Mr.
happen.
Martinson, can you state and spell your first and last name for the court reporter, please?
Yep. Maxwell Martinson, Maxwell.
Uh-oh. Our
MARTINSON.
court reporter spelt it
Mr. Martinson, how old are you?
M-A-Z-W-E-L.
Oh no!
Eau Claire.
Oh
do
gosh,
you live in
that's
Eau Claire?
gonna make me
About
so
5 years.
mad.
Do you know Ezra McCandless?
Damn it,
Yes.
man!
Is the person you
You're
know is Ezra
fired.
McCandless in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you identify where that person is located
Stupid
by
Z being by
location
the
and
X.
item of clothing?
She's sitting at that table in the middle with the pink jacket on.
And that's the record
I'm not
reflect
paying you for
identification
this
of the defendant.
assignment,
All
Mo.
right, the record will so reflect.
When did you meet the defendant, if you remember?
Probably somewhere around 2.5 years ago.
Where did you meet her, if you
Oh, she's
remember?
trying to bat
At,
her
Racey's
eyelashes
Coffee
at him.
Lounge.
What's up?
Did you ever hang out with the defendant outside of Racey's?
Yeah, a few times.
Would you say your primary interactions were at Racey's, however?
Yeah.
I'm going to direct your attention specifically to March 22nd, 2018. Were you at Racey's that day?
Yep.
I think from the from
Do you
watching
remember
the tape,
approximately what time
Heather.
you got there?
If I remember correctly, it was somewhere between 11 and 2.
Or she wore the
Do you remember
plaid every
seeing
day
the
like she
defendant at
wears
Reese's
the
that day?
pink
Yes.
every day.
Do you remember approximately what time
Well, she
she
didn't
got there?
remember what she was wearing.
Just in that time period.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember specifically.
You know what I mean? So
Did she come after you?
he showed her, and then she
Yes.
remembered.
Yeah, I was there first.
Do you remember where you were inside of Racey's when the defendant came?
I was sitting at the bar, just to the right at the bar, one of the
Well,
stools.
while y'all
coffee
do this,
bar.
I'm finna Google what
And just for the
Racey's
court
looks
reporter,
like.
Yes or no, not.
Okay.
I need to
Thank
know
you.
what this place is.
Do you remember who was sitting next to you?
Jason Mengel.
Had you previously talked with
Oh, look at that.
the defendant about swapping art?
Yes.
So do you do art yourself?
Yes.
And you knew that the defendant did art as well?
Mhm.
That
Yes.
yes?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. When the defendant came into Racey's, what did she do?
She walked up to me and asked me if I wanted to swap art with her that day.
Were you planning to swap art?
Vaguely, we hadn't made specific plans, but she just happened to be at Racey's, so
Vaguely. The word's vaguely,
it worked out that way.
sir.
So did you and the defendant decide to actually swap art that day?
Yeah, we made the
It's
decision that
say
day.
So
vaguely.
where did you go to do that?
Yeah, you
We drove
did.
to my house in her car.
You know how I feel
Did
about
the
those
defendant tell you if there was a
things.
specific painting she wanted to give to you?
Can't
Yes.
say the word
Did she tell you
correctly,
anything
then
about
use
that
a
painting?
smaller
Yes.
word.
What did she say about the painting?
It was
That's probably
in
why I
her and
called
Jason's
him
room when they were living
Maswell.
together.
Did she say where it was located in the room?
If I remember correctly, it was above their bed or in front of it.
He couldn't be bothered
said
to
that
talk correctly, so
you
weren't
went
bothered to say his
From
name
Racey's
right.
and you're going to your house, approximately how far away was
Right.
that drive?
Probably 5-10 minutes.
And the defendant drove?
Mhm.
Said yes?
Yes.
Thank you. And that was in her car?
Yes.
Had you been in her car before?
Yes.
Did the defendant tell you at any point that morning why she was in town in Eau Claire that day?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said that she was in town to deliver letters that she wrote in therapy, if I remember correctly.
Did she tell you who the letters were going to be delivered to?
Not specifically, no.
There y'all go.
So you
That's
left
Racey's.
in her car, went to your
Where everybody
residence.
hung out and was employed.
What did you do when you got there?
She gave me the painting. Then I walked into my house and grabbed 2 paintings to give to her.
Did she stay in the car? Or did she go in the house with you?
She stayed outside.
The painting that she gave to you, was that in the car?
Yes.
So did you take that in and leave it inside of your house?
Yes.
Do you have a recollection of what the painting looked like?
Objection irrelevant.
Oh, overruled.
Yes. It was a character from, I can't remember the character, but it looked like a bug with like a gas mask on.
So you went inside your house, dropped the one painting off, got 2 other paintings to give to the defendant, correct?
Yes.
What were those 2 paintings?
One looked like a goat. It's like a strange goat painting. The other was hard to describe. It was a lot of lines, sort of an abstract painting.
Did they have any significant meaning to you or anything like that?
I just thought that the goat, Ezra would like the goat painting.
Your Honor, if I may approach?
You may.
Who doesn't like goats? I like goats.
I love goats.
I'm going to show you, if you look
Oh,
at
now you have it right.
the back, that's exhibit number
I
127.
knew I fixed it somewhere.
Do you
That's why I was
recognize
confused
that
because I
painting?
saw
Yes.
I did the
Which painting
Z.
is that?
The abstract
Oops.
painting.
Oh, well.
One of the paintings that you gave to the defendant?
Yes.
I don't understand it either.
I'm going to have you look at exhibit
Nonstop mom.
433. Do you recognize a painting in that photograph?
Yes, the center.
And are you looking, I'm pointing to the center, there's a,
I mean,
don't know,
this is.
maybe 8 by
What
10
are they
Is that
swapping?
smaller
underwear?
canvas, is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
And which painting is
I don't
that?
know.
that
Hold
is
on,
the
let
goat.
me make. It's too fast. He did it too fast. I'll look again.
I
And
think it
exhibit
was black, tidy white.
432,
Well,
do you
Black.
see the goat painting in
What
this
you call
photograph?
those? Tidy
Yes.
blackies?
If you could,
It's
bun
underneath the seat.
huggers.
underneath the CD and glove.
so on the bottom right
I
corner
don't
of the
understand what the
photograph?
art swapping is. Like none of these
Yeah,
people
I'm pretty sure
like
that's
worked
the
at
painting.
a at a gallery for Pete's sake.
Did you notice anything about the
Now
defendant's
I want to
demeanor
know why there was
during your
panties in her
contact with her
car.
that morning?
If it were
She
if it was
seemed,
man underwear, then it wasn't.
In my opinion,
panties, babe.
understandably
It's
sad
underwears.
for maybe.
No, I call them
well,
all panties.
what
Brad
about
gets
your-
mad at me.
What was the
I,
last?
yeah,
low
I
height?
think I'd be mad if I was him
What
too.
about your observations? So what did you physically observe or hear that made you think that she was sad or low?
Just from our interaction, her demeanor, and I think I might have assumed too, just judging by what I knew about the situation she was in.
Do you remember when you got into the car where you put the paintings?
I can't say definitively, but I'm pretty sure that I put it in the back seat,
Both of them?
if I remember correctly. Yes.
Do you remember if you did you ride back in the passenger seat?
Yes.
Do you remember if you were holding it when you were driving back?
No.
Was there any blood on either of the paintings when you gave them to the defendant?
No.
So it was about a 10-minute drive to your house, was it about a 10-minute drive back?
Yes.
And what happened when you got back to Racy's?
I just went back inside. I believe Ezra came.
I'm sorry,
I believe Ezra came inside too.
were both of the paintings that you gave
Oh,
in
I
the
gotta
car when
tell you
you
guys something in a minute.
Yes.
got out at Racy's?
It
Yes.
doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Did you observe any knives in the vehicle during that time you were in the car that morning?
No.
Nothing further, thank you.
All right, Cross?
Thank you. Just quickly about the vehicle, you didn't look in the glove box?
No.
You didn't look in the center console?
No.
You didn't look in the trunk?
No.
You didn't explore the back seat?
Why would
You
he?
just, like most people, got in the car and sat in the passenger seat,
Yes.
had a conversation with your friend who was the driver.
Yes.
And, part of that conversation was what she was doing that day. Is
You
that right?
didn't ask her
Yes.
if she was riding dirty or
She
holding
was
or
back in Eau
anything.
Claire. She hadn't been in Eau Claire for a while, at least around Racy's. Is that right?
Yes.
And she told you that she was there to deliver, as you said, some letters, right?
Yes.
When you previously spoke to the police, you called those journals. Would that be fair?
I would probably call them letters.
And what did Ezra call them? Did Ezra call them journals or letters?
I can't recall.
All right. So your memory of it is that there was some sort of letter to particular people, or kind of a general letter that she was distributing to particular people?
I understood them to be particular people, letters to particular people.
And that these were something that she'd been writing for therapy as recommended by her counselor.
Hey,
right?
Max.
That's how I understood it. Yeah.
That's what she had told you is, I'm in counseling, I'm
Hey,
writing these
Max.
letters, I'm gonna go
What's
and
going on?
deliver them, correct?
Yes.
And it was based upon that recommendation that she told you from her counselor, right?
Yes.
And one of the people that she told you she was going to deliver the letter to
Hey,
was
nonstop
Alex
mom.
Wood, right?
If you start painting goats,
She didn't specify
and I
who she
start
was delivering
painting
letters
goats,
to.
you want to
I
swap
just knew that
goat
that was one of the reasons
paintings?
she was in town.
Not for
Okay.
keeps.
And you knew that because
Just
of
for a little
just
while.
the general background of the friend group there at Racy's that you knew about, right?
I knew what?
You knew about that because of the general background that you knew from the friend group at Racy's.
I knew about her.
Objection, I'd ask for specificity.
Did you know that she was?
Hold on.
I'll withdraw the question and rephrase it.
Okay.
Sorry, should be
Question
more clear.
withdrawn.
Ezra told you she was going to Alex's. Is that right?
No.
Okay. She told you she was delivering letters.
Yes.
She told you she was delivering letters to many people,
She didn't specify how many people.
more than one.
Maybe. I inferred that.
You inferred it because she used the plural letters as opposed to one.
Maybe it was over a year ago, so it was hard to remember specific.
And I
words that she-
understand and appreciate that. I'm just trying to get the facts that you know today. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do it,
yes.
Allie, and
All
then
right.
tell us what you come up with.
And you talked to the police about this sometime in March of 2018. Is that right?
Yes.
And again, that wasn't a year and a half ago, right? Excuse me.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a year and a half ago. That was very soon after you had this drive and this art exchange with Ezra, right?
Yes.
So you'd agree that you probably knew it better then than you do
Yes.
now, right? And when you spoke with the police, have you had a chance to review their report at some point in your preparation for the testimony today?
No.
Have you had a chance to review, was there a recording of that made?
I'm not sure.
Okay, did anyone share a recording with you?
Did they tell you you were
So
being
you're just
recorded?
going fresh off your memory today.
I am working from my memory. Yes.
All right.
Did you smoke mota this morning before court?
When you spoke with the police back in March, well, let me ask this. Would it refresh your memory to see
Did you
the
swallow a
police
peach
officer's
color
summary
bitter
of his
pill?
conversation with you regarding what you told him about her delivering journals or letters to Alex?
Yes.
What page?
That's all right, Heather. Get it out, girl. We can all be in the mood together.
Let me approach.
But I'm going to tell you
Show
about my
you,
disappointment
page. You're
after
welcome
this
to
is
read anything
over.
you want, but I'm going to direct your attention to this paragraph.
Sure.
That might help you. So read it to yourself, and then when you're done, just let me know, and I'll take it back and ask you some questions.
Sounds good.
Okay, while he's reading that. So remember how yesterday I wanted the,
Okay.
hold on. Now you
She's
just
reading that.
interrupted
Yes.
me, Maxwell. So remember how yesterday I was telling you guys I wanted KFC, right? I was craving it. So guess what I did? Guess what I had for dinner tonight? Not fucking KFC, McDonald's, because I couldn't convince anybody to get KFC. Now I pulled out all the stops. I made the sad eyes. I made the puppy dog blink slow eyes. I
Well,
pulled my
just be
shirt
happy
down
you didn't
low.
have to cook.
I showed a little cleavage. I said please and nothing. So sad. and then, while I was eating my McDonald's that I didn't really actually want, but it's better than nothing, Alice decides, hey, mom's not paying attention. Let me take a chicken nugget, which she did because Alice loves chicken nuggies. All right, here we go.
You read that.
That's
You
my
remember
story.
More about what you told the police?
Yes.
And one of the things is that you believe she was going to give this journal entry to Alex, right?
Yes, I believe that. Yes.
I should have nonstop mom.
The painting that she exchanged with you, you'd said she made some comments about it.
Yes.
So what you learned about the painting was based upon what Ezra told you, right?
Yes.
You didn't have knowledge outside of that regarding where the painting was or who had made it or anything about the significance of the painting other than what Ezra had said. Would that be fair to say?
It wasn't
I
to
don't
my kids,
believe that I spoke to
maniac.
Jason
It
Engel
was
about
to
the
the
painting.
person who was going to get
If
the
anyone we were talking
food.
about it would have been him. But I
What
believe
do
that
you
that was
think,
my first
Schmidt? I'm new
knowledge
at
of
this.
the meaning of the painting from Ezra.
Okay. So you agree.
I agree. Yes, I
All
agree.
right. And what Ezra told you about the painting is that it was significant painting in her relationship with Jason. Is that right?
Yes.
And that even though, and she was giving that away on that day, correct?
Yes.
So she's giving away a painting that was significant with her and Jason to you, right?
Yes.
And delivering journals that she got from that she was told by her therapist to others, right?
Yes.
And one of those others was Alex.
Did she sing, we just got a letter? We just got a letter.
Can you redirect? Just 1 second, Your Honor.
Okay, but do they
The
keep
painting
it
that was
forever, Allie, or
hanging
just for
over-
a little while?
The defendant in Jason Mengel's bed. Do you remember if the defendant told you a time period that that painting was there?
I don't remember.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
May we cross?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Martinson, you may step down.
Thank you.
Does this look right?
Susan,
Is this who's
sweep over.
next?
ZW.
Yeah, but pause it.
No. You
I
did not
want
say
to
the
know
magic
why.
word.
I want to know why. Hopefully, I spelled her last name right.
That's a lot.
I
That's
want
a
to
lot of
know
names.
why. I've learned a lot. Thinks that guy knew.
Knew what?
I don't know. She typed this guy knew.
Well, I've learned a lot. Momo needs clarification. Por favor. So if you could please come back and clarify for her. Otherwise, she's not going to let me push play and we're going to be here all night. What? They keep it forever? No.
Well, why would they borrow it? That's dumb.
Okay, first of all, it's not borrowing, it's swapping.
Well, swapping
So,
means you
right.
trade and you keep.
Right, but this is what I was thinking. If the purpose and intention is so that you are displaying art from other people or getting your art displayed from outside of your social circle, right? Once everybody from the other social circle has seen it, and then everybody from your social circle has seen it, then you give it back and do different ones. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you rotate, like they lend
Like
art
a
to
little art
galleries.
show.
Like they lend art to galleries. Like
Right.
that. See?
Still dumb.
What do you mean? I'm not. What?
I said it's dumb. What? I've learned a lot. What do you mean? He just has the look and the attitude. The look and the attitude that he knew that she was going to kill Alex.
Or that she was up to no good. We need more.
I need a paragraph.
More. YouTube only gives you 150 characters, Mo. Don't be
All right.
greedy.
Use 149 because I want to know what you're thinking because I think you're very smart.
Can I push play while we wait?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Look at Shmita. Shmita thinks that she's clever.
Oh, Ezra was all over the Instagram. 637 Instagram DMs a day.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you. I've learned a lot.
thank you. I've learned a lot. You going to be all right now, Mo? Can we continue?
Yes.
Are
and
you
I
sure?
agree.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
IEFELHOFER.
And I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
That's okay.
Are you currently employed, ma'am?
I am currently employed as a care provider, but I was previously employed with the city of Eau Claire as a police officer.
All right. And how long were you
Oh,
employed?
I
by
would
the
not
city of
have
Eau Claire
guessed
as a
that. I
police
would have
officer?
guessed PE
Over
coach.
30 years.
Right. And were you working for the city of Eau Claire as a police officer on March 22nd of 2018?
Yes,
She looks like
were
every
your duties
elementary
as an
school
officer
PE
with the
teacher I
police
ever
department?
had. For real,
I'm a
she
patrol
does.
officer.
She does.
And were you a patrol officer on
I'll
March
be right back.
22nd of 2018?
Oh man, I was
And,
going to be right back. Okay, go be right back.
Shortly after noon, were you assigned to an investigation or a matter by the police department?
Yes,
What were you assigned to or dispatched to?
it was a check person. And I
And,
was assisting.
okay. And where was that assignment? Where were you to go?
It was in the 500 block of Cameron Street in the city of Eau Claire.
And was it, I think you said you were assisting. Was there another officer assigned as well?
Yes, Officer O'Neill preceded me to the scene.
And that's Christopher O'Neill?
Yes,
All right. And
Every time you tell that
as you were
story,
going
I
to
know
the
I
scene,
should not be
did you,
laughing at that because it's not funny. It's
actually,
just,
let me
it's the
preface
way
with-
that you
was
put
your
it.
squad at that point in time equipped with a dash or a squad
see how
camera?
I don't know how to act
Yes.
right. I don't even know
And as
why
you were
I
going to the
even have
scene, did you
16 people in
activate
here listening
that
to me.
camera?
Because I don't know how
Yes.
to act
And
right
does that
at all.
camera record just video or does it also record audio?
it records video and audio,
right.
both.
And at some point in time, can you switch the audio on and off on it?
I don't believe so.
Okay, all right. And did you activate that system as you were proceeding to the scene?
Yes,
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you, Heather. I just don't know how to act at all. I mean, I got home training and everything, but
Exhibit number 161, which is a disc. Does that contain your initials?
yes, it does.
And did you review this disc to see if it was an accurate
Oh.
copy of your squad video from
Hold on, let
March
me-
22nd of 2018?
Yes,
And is it?
yes.
And Your Honor, I move the admission to exhibit 161.
she's
Any objection?
a little bit of a
Objection.
mullet.
Right,
She's
exhibit
got the business in
161
the
will
front,
be
but there's
received.
definitely a
And I'd
party
ask
in
you
the
to
back.
Play that at this point in time, and counsel for the defense is kindly, since
Okay, I'm
for some
back.
reason the audio is not
Okay.
working when it plays from mine, as agreed. Then
If
it does
anybody
work for some
talks to
reason from his
Ezra,
computer, so
tell
we
that
ask
girl, listen,
that be played at this point in time for the jury.
All right.
Moose is all right, but
May
you got to
play the
use
video.
it evenly. You can't use too much at the top, or you're going to get the wet look at the top with. I mean, it honestly just looks like fuzz at the bottom.
This is a little hard to hear, so just gotta listen.
Okay.
Your assigned call has been updated.
Hi. Okay. Okay. Like, what did you see in her eyes, I guess?
Coffee shop, kind of just, I don't know, she just didn't look like she was herself. She looked heightened.
How long ago was this?
Say,
Did that other officer get your name and information?
yeah, she got all my stuff.
Okay.
This would have been
Willie 145, I cleared second address.
10-ish, 10:40.
Now this is
Okay, this morning?
Jason
Yes, I
at
was doing laundry and
Alex's
stuff.
house.
What coffee shop did she come into?
Into Racey's.
Okay.
Go ahead. The other
Did she look like upset or
A
like,
little bit, but yeah.
okay.
And when I talked to my friend, she picked up some art from him and they traded art. And it's like, yeah, she gave me a vibe today, man. It's like, well, she said she's going to do some errands. And like, told her I talked to her, I was like, I don't know, this doesn't feel right. Something feels wrong. I'm in the military and like, I have super heightened awareness when it comes to like situations like this. So I was like, okay, well, I have a 99% chance or 99% idea of what's going to happen. So
Oh,
Okay.
your spidey senses were tingling there.
They're okay.
yeah, so I just,
We'll take care of it. Too.
Okay.
No problem. All right, you have a good day.
You're welcome.
Can you pause it for a second? Okay, this is why I was interested in what I've said. I've learned a lot said. Did he say that Maxwell didn't feel right about something, or Jason didn't feel right about something?
Oh my gosh, let me rewind. I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. Listen. Well, not that you're not going to, but
Your assigned call has been updated.
Hi. Can you talk to me? You don't live here? Okay. Okay.
I like what she looked like in her eyes. I was curious if there was something bad happening.
Okay. Like, what did you see in her eyes, I guess?
She was in the coffee shop, kind of just, I don't know, she just didn't look like she was herself. She looked heightened.
How long ago was this?
Say,
Did that other officer get your name and information?
yeah, she got all my stuff.
Okay.
This would have been
Willie 145, I cleared second address.
10-ish, 10:40.
Okay. This morning?
Yes,
Okay.
I was doing laundry and stuff.
What coffee shop did she come into?
Into Racey's.
Okay.
Go ahead. The other
Did she look like upset or
A
like,
little bit, like, yeah.
okay.
And when I talked to my friend, she picked up some art from him and they traded art. And it's like, yeah, she gave me a vibe today, man. It's like, well, she said she's going to do some errands. And like, told her I talked to her, I was like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Something feels wrong. I'm in the military and like, I have super heightened awareness when it comes to like situations like this. So I was like, okay, well, I have a 99% chance or 99% idea of what's going to happen. So
Okay.
Yep, he said that his friend said she had a vibe.
Yes, that's what he said.
Very well spotted. I've learned a lot.
Hey, Cement Shoes. Sometimes you gotta unsub and then resub. I don't know why you two be playing me like that. It's so rude.
How creepy, Jason. Go on your way.
Ms. Whifflehofer, it appears that you
Okay,
made
I'll be
contact
right
initially
back.
and talked to essentially
Shamita,
Mr. Mengel.
You're in charge of the
Yes.
class.
And during your conversation with Mr. Mengel, did he express any concerns or mention Alex Woodworth to you?
He did not mention Mr. Woodworth, but he mentioned Miss McCandless.
Okay. Do you express any concerns about Ms. McCandless?
That she was acting strange. She just wasn't herself.
And it appears from that you arrived on scene approximately what time?
It was probably like 12:35, 12:40, somewhere in there.
And left, it appears from that video, you were there, what, how long? A couple minutes?
3 to 4 minutes.
And then you left?
Then I departed, yes.
And one thing I noticed, the audio doesn't seem to come on right away. Is there a reason for that?
When you activate the recorder, the video and audio, there's like a 2-minute section that it records just visually, just the video, before the actual audio kicks in.
Okay.
That's something that
That's
can't
just how the
explain
system,
why. Yes.
all right, that's just how the system works.
Yes.
It wasn't you were trying to keep audio up. Okay.
No.
Ms. Whifflehofer, if the video indicates 12:50 is the end of it, would that be more accurate than your memory at this point in time?
Correct. It would be every time would be on the video
Okay.
itself.
Thank you. Did you? No, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, cross-examination? Yeah, can I get my screen again up? Ms. Whifflehofer, did I get that correct?
It's Sweevel over. It's close enough.
Whifflehofer?
Better-
I want to get it right.
That's fine.
Can you give me one more try?
It's Sweevel over.
Zwevel over. Okay. I want to ask you some questions about that day on March 22nd when you went to the address on Cameron Street, okay? On the screen there is what appears to be the beginning of the video, is that correct?
Correct.
And that current time on there says 12 hours, 46 minutes, and 51 seconds, is that right?
That's correct.
And that would be the accurate time as to when that recording began on March 22nd, right?
When you activate the recorder, it goes back a couple of minutes. That's the way the city has it set up. So it records just the visual for a couple of minutes back.
Maybe I wasn't clear. What I'm asking is, when that says current time, 12:46:51, as you're sitting in your car, if you looked at your watch, it would show 12:46:51 at the same time that you're seeing this on the street. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay, that's all wasn't that complicated. I apologize. And then at the end here, when we get to the end, it ends at, I believe it is 12:54:06. I'm just going to play the last 2 seconds to, oops, sorry. To get to that end. Does that end at 12 minutes 50, 12 hours, 50 minutes and 6 seconds? Is that right?
According to that, yes.
And that's, you have no reason to dispute the accuracy of that. Agreed?
I do not. I have no control over any of that.
My question is, you agree that that's the actual time on that day? You don't dispute the accuracy of that time, do you?
According to that, no.
I don't understand why you're saying according to that. My question is, do you think it's a different time than 12 hours, 50 minutes and 6 seconds?
I can only go by what I see on the screen up there.
Okay.
So that's what I would have to say according to that, yes.
All right. You were called, as you said, to check person, is that right?
Correct.
And you came to find out that the person that you were actually checking on was Jason Mengel, right?
Correct.
And that's who you had contact with was Jason Mengel, correct?
I did not know that was his name at the time because I did not ask him his name because the other officer had already obtained his information.
But the person you had contact with, you now know as you sit there today, was Jason Mengel, correct?
Correct.
If I move I'm going to turn the volume off because I don't think we need to hear anything at this point. I'm just trying to show pictures. Person to the left of the screen there, is that the way over on the corner? Can you see him? Maybe that's not the best view. Going to play for I'm going to play about 10 seconds here from 12:47:21. If I could. Started at 12:47:10. And I paused it at 12:47:22. Do we see somebody away from the car walking towards what I think is considered a fat bike? Do you see that person?
Yes,
Is that Jason Mengel?
yes,
And he's walking towards a bicycle, is that right?
yes,
And that's more of him there, right there, where we see Jason Mengel, correct?
yes,
And the reason that you were there was because there was a call about what Jason Mengel was doing there at that house, right?
yes,
And you came to learn that Jason Mengel told you the woman in the car was his ex-girlfriend, right?
correct.
And he told you, I think you'd said that she was not herself that day, is that right?
That's what he had said, yes.
Did he tell you that the reason that he said she was not herself is she'd given away a painting that was symbolic to him of their relationship?
I recall that she had traded some artwork.
Okay, but you didn't know what the artwork was, agreed?
I did not.
You didn't know the significance of that artwork to Jason Mengel.
He never explained it.
And all he said was, my ex-girlfriend was not acting like herself today, correct?
Correct.
And then he told you, did he tell you that the person on the other side of the car, do you see where the red dot is?
Yes,
Do you see that's a person? Does that appear to be a person to you?
yes,
Do you know who that is?
I did not.
Did you later learn that that was Alex Woodworth?
I pieced it together that it was him.
So yes, you later learned it was him.
I later did, yes.
Did Jason Mengel tell you that Alex Woodworth was in a sexual relationship with his ex-girlfriend?
No, he did not.
He just told you that he was there checking up on Ms. McCandless, right?
Correct.
And as the video goes on, in here we can see Officer O'Neill at the open door to the car parked in the driveway, is that right?
Yes,
And you learned that sitting in the driver's seat there was Ezra McCandless, is that right?
I later learned that, yes.
While you were, as the video goes on here, I'm just going to play it again with no volume. Now what we're seeing is Alex Woodworth on one side of the door, is that right?
Yes,
And Officer O'Neill on the other side of the door, correct?
yes,
And again, though we can't see it, you know from previous observations and later observations that Ms. McCandless is on the other side of Mr. O'Neill sitting in the driver's seat, right?
yes,
And they're having a conversation.
yes,
Officer O'Neill is a trained police officer just like you.
yes,
I imagine you go through lots of training in your job, right?
yes,
You probably wanted to become a law enforcement officer because you wanted to help people.
yes,
You wanted, one of your concerns is safety, right?
correct.
And I would imagine Officer O'Neill shares those same concerns based upon what you know of him, right?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained. I think you can ask, I'm assuming he's going to be a witness, you can ask him.
I will. Yes, thank you. And while you were talking to Jason, you were also keeping your eyes, as is probably part of your role, on what Officer O'Neill is doing, right?
On and off,
Sure. I mean, you're multitasking, and that's not always the easiest thing to do in any role, correct?
correct.
But you're certainly glancing over there, and you're not leaving him completely alone. Agreed?
That'd be correct.
And it appears as if he's having a conversation with two individuals who are cooperative. Agreed?
Yes,
Friendly.
yes,
And in fact, at the end, I think when we heard, you could hear Ms. McCandless thanking you. Is that right?
yes,
And at the end, you heard Officer O'Neill say, everything's okay.
yes.
And you heard Officer O'Neill say, everything's good.
I think he said everything was okay.
All right. Well, let's play that then and just so we just watched a portion of the video. You saw Officer O'Neill turn to you in that video,
Yes,
and you saw him give you a thumbs up.
yes,
And then you heard him say the words, everything's good.
yes, I stand corrected. He said everything is,
And it was a long time ago, right?
yes,
And now as we're looking at the video here, we can see we have a clear shot to the person in the driver's seat. Is that right?
yes,
And I'm just going to play it again without the volume now to just get another, I'm going to ask you some questions about Ms. McCandless when I'm done playing this portion, okay? You saw, you watched that portion of the video I just played
Yes,
where we saw Ms. McCandless reach out and grab the driver's door and close it. Is that right?
yes.
Do you remember what she was wearing that day?
I do not. I couldn't see that far into the vehicle.
Would it refresh your memory perhaps to see a picture
Yes,
showing you what's been marked as 632? Does that appear to be the shirt that you recall her wearing that day?
I could not see what she was wearing.
Okay, fair enough. And at this point in the video at 12:49:32, I can't see Mr. Woodworth. Can you see him? Is he observable?
I do not see him.
I'm going to play because I want to ask you some questions about him, okay? So we just watched approximately the last 30 seconds of that video. Is that right?
Approximately.
And during that time, you saw Mr. Woodworth was at the front of the vehicle and he walked over to the passenger side near the front passenger door. Is that correct?
Yes,
And then he stopped and turned and looked over the roof of the car. Is that right?
I guess I'd have to review the video. I didn't look at it that closely.
All right, we can do that. You see that where I paused it there? You see him there?
I can see his head.
Okay, let me press play and maybe it'll clear it up. So I paused it there. What we saw is Ms. McCandless had the door open to her car. Is that right?
Yes,
Officer O'Neill walked back after talking with you, got into his car and drove off, right?
yes,
During that time, Mr. Woodworth walked from the front of the car to the passenger side of the car, correct?
yes.
It appears as if he walked around to perhaps open the door. Agreed?
I do not know if the door was open or closed for him.
Fair enough. And then you see him turn and look across back towards the camera over the top of the car. Is that right?
Yes,
And it's during that same time that the man with the bicycle approaches the car, correct?
yes,
And that man's Jason Mengel.
yes.
And it appears when you're driving off that Jason Mengel and Alex Woodworth are having some conversation. Is that correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And again, I understand you're not sure, but would you agree that it appears as if they're speaking to each other?
I can say they're looking at each other. I don't know if they're talking to each other.
Okay. And in the middle of those two men is Ezra McCandless.
In the vehicle, yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, any redirect?
Yes, briefly. Ma'am, anything during the time that you were at that scene that caused you to be concerned about the interaction between any of the individuals there?
I did have no concerns.
All right. And as we see went through this last 30 seconds, you can flip off now. I'm not going to use it anymore. As you were there those last 30 seconds that we just saw a couple times where there, at least you can see that Mr. Mengel and Mr. Woodworth are looking at each other. Anything that happened during that time frame that concerned you?
No,
All right, any recross within the scope?
You had no concerns at all, correct?
at that time, no.
And that's why you drove off, leaving the three of them there in the driveway.
Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Spiegelover. You may step down. I hope I got your name right that time.
Okay, so Nonstop Mom, I think the point to those questions is that if Jason called the cops and the cops arrived
Oh,
and
I don't know if Jason called him.
Okay. If the cops were called,
Sorry.
that's all right. If the cops were called, who would have called them, Mo?
I think a neighbor called it.
Because
Oh, because I've seen a hit.
no, what I'm saying is, why did the neighbor call? They were arguing or something?
Yes.
Huh. Okay. So the cops were called. All right. The cops come out and everything seems to be fine. Hold on, Alice. So fine. so hunky dory that they leave. I believe what the defense is trying to establish here is that obviously there was no premeditation on the behalf of Ezra McCandless because look, she talked to the cops came out there and everything was just fine. She had to do what she did because she was being attacked. I think that that is the point that they're trying to establish. And I'm going to push play and Alice wants out of the bedroom. So that's what I'm doing.
It's not an easy name to pronounce, by the way. Thank you. Is she released from her subpoena?
Well,
Yes,
it's
Your
not
Honor.
like
You're
she
good- you're good
picked
to
her
go.
name.
Thank you.
That's the name they
Right,
gave
you ready for
her.
the next witness?
Your Honor, that's kind of rude.
Tell us your name, please, and spell your first and last name for the court reporter.
It's Christopher, Kristopher, last name's O'Neill, O''Neill.
And how are you employed, sir?
I'm a police officer of the city of Eau Claire,
How long have you been employed with the city of Eau Claire?
22 and a half years.
And do you have any specific assignment or duties with the Eau Claire Police Department?
I'm currently assigned to the patrol division as a road patrol officer.
And did you have that same assignment on March 22nd of 2018?
Yes, I did.
Were you working on that day?
Yes, I was.
And were you dispatched at some point in time that day shortly after the lunch hour for any incidents?
Yes, I was sent to a welfare check person case on Cameron Street in Eau Claire.
And did you go to that scene?
I did.
All right. And did you eventually end up near a residence located at 511 Cameron Street?
Yes, I did.
And approximately when did you arrive at that scene? If you recall.
I don't know the exact time, but it was shortly after noon.
All right. And when you arrived at the scene, who's the first person that you had contact with?
A gentleman by the name of Jason Mengel.
And do you recall where you met with Mr. Bengal when you initially saw him?
As I was pulling up to the location, he was walking northbound across Cameron Street towards the Montessori School.
Hey, Vincent's
with him,
missing here. Welcome, welcome,
just-
welcome.
Well, a little bit northeast of that residence.
Okay. And when you say that residence, you're talking about the residence at 511 Cameron Street?
That's correct.
And did you have some discussion with Mr. Mengel at that point in time?
I did.
After you had some discussion with Mr. Mengel, where did you go?
Then I went across the street to the area of 511 Cameron and met with two other individuals that had exited the house at 511 Cameron Street.
All right. And where were those individuals when you first saw them?
They had been walking out of the house.
Did they walk out at the same time?
I believe so.
All right. And did you eventually identify who those two individuals were?
I did.
And who were they?
An Alex Woodward and an Ezra McCandless.
All right. And do you see the one that you identified herself as Ezra McCandless in court here today?
I do. She's sitting,
And could you point her up at where she's seated and what she's wearing?
she's sitting at the defense table wearing a floral dress and a blazer.
Ask the record to reflect the identification of the defendant, Your Honor.
All right, the witness, or I'm sorry, the record will reflect the witness has identified Ms. McCandless.
Did you discuss with Mr. Woodworth how things were, if there were any problems?
We probably don't need
I
the
had
subtitles on
Both
for this
subjects,
part.
if everything was okay, and he told me that they were.
Why didn't y'all say
And
something?
You also asked the defendant if everything was okay.
Well, I'm
did.
used to
And what
having them
was her
on for
response?
Netflix
She said that everything
and
was
stuff.
okay as well.
I know,
Did she
because
express
when
to
we
you,
share
when you were talking to her, any concerns
Paramount,
with
I'm like,
being
oh,
with Alex Woodworth?
Mo has decided she wants to read the TV today.
Did the
I keep
defendant
them on for
eventually
everything.
enter any vehicles?
Boy, drive me nuts.
I believe they both entered a silver Chevy that was parked in the driveway.
And do you recall where the defendant got into that vehicle? Which seat?
I don't recall.
Okay. The defendant tell you whether or not she wanted to continue to have contact with Alex Woodworth?
I don't believe she specifically said anything like
Okay.
that.
That's fine. As you were heading to this scene
I
or
think it's
arriving
a
at the
shirt,
scene,
and he
did
called
you,
it a dress,
was your squad
Schmida. So
equipped
he
with
was, she was like,
a
"That's
squad
not what
camera or
I'm wearing."
dash camera?
Yes,
All right. And did you activate that camera at that point in time?
yes.
All right.
You may.
Officer O'Neill, I'm showing you what has been marked for identification as exhibit number 162, which is a DVD disc. It appears to have some initials on it. Are those your initials?
Yes, they are.
And did you review this disc to compare the contents of the disc with your dash camera from March 22nd of 2018?
Yes.
And is this an accurate copy of those?
That's what
that
I'm
dash
thinking
camera?
Vincent's missing here.
Well,
She didn't
movie
have
initially
time
is
for
what
that
was
complex
62.
bun business
And
she
as
had
we begin to
going
play
on.
that, and again, defense counsel has been kind enough to agree to play it from this computer since we were having problems with our sound from ours.
Any objection? All right. Exhibit 162 will be received and
Now I want to look at this because that officer looks like he's going a little fast.
You have it sped up.
Oh, yeah, but just a little bit. Never mind.
Judge, I'm going to stop it. I believe that there's.
Let me have my moment, Mo.
That's not playing. I'm just going to apologize.
Fine though. I mean, I don't know. I'm my girlfriend.
Okay, sound's not working. I apologize. I'm going to restart at 12:43:26. We're
Thank you, counsel.
When she talked to me this morning.
And said they saw. And said they saw you park your bike over here.
Yeah.
And then walk over there, look
Yeah.
around in that car. Do you know that person that lives there?
It's my girlfriend's car, or my
Okay.
ex-girlfriend. We're kind of in a situation, and when she talked to me this morning, I was worried because the guy that lives there is involved in an assault case that she's with, or
She's the victim of?
she's the victim of an assault that happened. And when she went to him for consolement, I was gone on military orders.
Okay.
She went to him to talk to him about stuff, and then he kind of took advantage of her too. And she wanted to talk to him, I think, today about some stuff, and I was paranoid because she had like fire in her eyes.
Okay.
So
Who's the girlfriend?
Ezra McCandless.
Okay.
I was just worried
Maybe
that, like,
he did.
Was the
tell
door
the
standing
police.
open over there when you got there on the car?
That's what
I
I
knocked like
thought.
3 times. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear a scuffle or anything. So knocked, yelled, opened the door, and I heard her say, "Let him help you. Let him help you." So then I said, "Hey, is everything okay? Is everyone all right now?" I mean, I'm a medic in the military, so like, I was paranoid. I was paranoid that someone was going to do something irrational. And,
Okay. And they're in the house on the corner here, or?
Yeah, they're on. I think they're fine though. I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
I just saw the door to the car was standing open too. Was
Yeah,
it
I wanted to
open
turn her car off. Her car was running, so that's why I was like worried because it was running. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Is everything okay?
Interesting
Do you have any
that
idea
you
what
used the word paranoid, not worried.
Oh, no, wait, headquarters is 10-2.
Sorry.
Paranoid. Huh.
10-4. Jason, you live in town?
Roger that. Just worried. I don't think he's dangerous, but I don't know.
Do you know what his name is?
Alex Woodsworth.
Okay.
I think it's Woodsworth or Woodsworth.
684.
Roger that. You mind if I grab my bike quick?
Just give me your address here and a phone number, and then we'll let you head out for now.
Oh, I'm not going to head out. I'm just.
We can head over there.
Okay.
I'll go and check on them. What's your address?
135 Broadway Street, Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Schmida, get the Googles.
And a phone number?
715-225-0220.
Okay. You can go over by bike.
They got in big trouble for playing his phone number on here, by the way.
I bet they did. Schmida, yeah, they're in that video I made.
Only 108 headquarters, 1049.
Hey, Gwenty, how you doing, babe? Good to
Hi.
see ya.
Is everything okay here? Yeah. Okay. Somebody called us kind of worried because they saw Jason come over here and he was going in the car and they weren't sure what was going on.
No,
Okay.
everything's fine.
Everything's fine?
Then maybe
Okay.
somebody else did
Do
call.
you guys have any idea
'cause
what
he
it
was
is?
snooping in the
I got to
car.
write a report here and
Right.
came over and talked to you
Okay.
guys.
All right, now we've settled that.
They were just a little worried because they saw the car running over here and they weren't sure what was going on and all that jazz. Go on, just
that
slide it on there. I don't
jazz.
want to take your wallet from you.
And all that jazz.
I have this, and I'll find my license. Okay? Sorry.
That's okay.
See, if he would have checked if she had insurance, they wouldn't have been able to. She wouldn't be able to drive, and he would
Does that
still be
work
alive.
for an ID?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry, my license
Why?
is somewhere in here.
That's okay.
You know, I just usually have it.
Why do you say that?
Because you
Is
can't
that-
drive without
1194.
Yes, you
insurance.
can.
That's an easy birthday to remember, huh?
It really is.
You can get,
Now,
yeah,
what's
they're
your
not
phone
going to tow your car though. They're just going to give you a ticket, babe.
220.
Every state is different.
And you live here? What's the address, sir?
511 Cameron.
Well, don't me, Selma.
Sorry
It's
for all
true.
this, like,
It's okay. It's okay. I'd rather come here and check and it be
Yeah.
nothing than have something bad happening. Ezra, where do you live?
I live 36794 25th Avenue.
Is that Chippewa?
And
That's
obviously
family
that's the
Wisconsin.
situation here, right? Because he didn't ask for insurance, did he?
No.
Okay, then. Look at Gwen. See? Gwen knows. Here, here.
And a birthday, Ezra?
October 6th, 1997.
And Max, too. See?
And a phone number for you.
Currently, that would be a house phone, if that's okay?
Yep.
715?
Uh-huh.
Here comes. You can't drive without insurance.
5100.
You're so cute, Mo.
Okay. There you go.
Well, you
guys are good to
can
go.
in Virginia.
Thank you.
You can other places.
We're good to go. Everything's good.
Oh,
They're okay.
I'm just gonna say that
Isn't-
comes up later.
take care of
That's
it.
why I said it.
I know,
No
I
problem.
know. I'm just
All
giving
right,
you
you
a
have a good
hard
day.
time, babe. I told you I was in a mood. I told you I couldn't be serious today. You were forewarned. Look at him. Okay, bye.
A couple questions, Officer O'Neill, after reviewing that, during the course of your contact with the defendant, did she
That's
ever
right,
indicate or
Gwen
tell
T.
you that she had a concern about being
Come
with
on
Alex Woodworth?
vacation, leave
No.
on probation.
And you asked for her ID initially?
Yes.
What did she give you? She said, that, see if this is okay.
I don't recall exactly what she
It
provided.
was not a driver's license, though?
No.
Wait a minute. Weren't they in his car though?
And she said she wasn't finding her driver's
No, that's
license
her
when
car.
she, was she looking in the car?
I believe so.
Oh, that's right. Because he didn't have a car. Because Mima offered
you
him one,
talked
and she said
initially
no. See,
to,
another
Jason
another
Mengel, did he
situation with
inter-
Jason,
Did
and
he tell
she's
you that he had some
got the
concerns about
cries.
how the defendant was looking that day?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
I believe he said she looked like she had fire in her eyes.
And that was the first thing he told you about why he was concerned?
It was one thing he told me. I don't recall in order.
When you were leaving, where was the defendant at that point in time?
She was with Mr. Woodworth on, by the car in front of the house.
All right. Do you recall if she was in the driver's seat of the car?
I don't recall.
All right. Nothing further for Officer O'Neill, Your Honor. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you.
I mean,
Mr. O'Neill, you had a
in
chance to watch
Texas,
the
you're supposed to
recording the
be
same time we did,
insured,
right?
okay?
Yes.
But if
You
you're
watched that
not,
before in preparation for today?
you have to
Yes.
rack up so
In the
many
recording,
no
did you see that there
insurance
was a
tickets before
current
they'll
time on the
even
bottom of the
suspend your
recording?
license.
Yes,
And it's
And then all
approximately
you do is
12:45
get
to
an
12:50.
SR22, boom, back in business.
that sounds correct.
And that's the actual time that was done, correct?
Oh, I love it here
You
too, but
left
it's
about-
crazy.
The end of the tape is 12:49 and 44 seconds.
That sounds correct.
And the reason you were there is you had a check person, right?
Correct.
And the check person turned out to be Jason Mengel, correct?
Yes.
And as you drove up to this address that you were told to check on a person, you saw a person matching the description. Is that right?
Yes.
And so that's why you pulled over and spoke with Jason Mengel, correct?
Correct.
Because you'd heard that there was a man matching Jason's description that was
All right,
going
we'll
in and
be
out of a
shutting down
parked
this
car at a
live now
residence.
because
Yes,
Cement
that he
Shoes
was
has
going up
broke
to
the
the door.
internet
Is
with
that right?
this
Yes.
comment.
Maybe entered the house,
Yes.
wandered around on the outside, on the outskirts of the house before that.
Possibly.
But the reason you were there is somebody was doing something at that house that matched the description of Jason Mengel, right?
Yes.
And so then you saw, as you do in your police work, you saw someone matching that description, so you stopped to speak with them.
Oh my
correct?
gosh,
Correct.
Gwen, I totally forgot
You've been a
about
law enforcement
that.
officer for quite some time, I imagine.
Yes.
A lot of training.
Yes.
Imagine one of your probably reasons to get into law enforcement was to help people.
Yes.
To protect people, correct?
Correct.
And so when you get a call like this, you're motivated to make sure everybody's safe. Is that right?
Correct.
So you went and you spoke with Jason Mengel to figure out what's going on, correct?
Yes.
And you learned that he was there because
Monica
his
Koscheck.
ex-girlfriend's car was parked in the driveway, correct?
I learned that he went there to check on her.
He went there he knew she was there because her car was there, correct? Is that what he told you?
I'm not sure how he knew she was there.
Okay. But at some point he told you he was there because his ex-girlfriend was there.
Objection, Your Honor, misstates the video. In fact, he describes in the video it's his girlfriend. That's what he says in the video.
Well, the video is what it is.
Yes.
Here, let me just play the video back from the beginning here and we can
He followed the fire
say
from
what
her
he
eyes.
says.
That's how he
Starting
knew
in
where
at
she was.
12:43:38. Hopefully.
The guy that, yeah.
Around in that car over here.
Yeah.
And then walk over there, look
Yeah.
around in that car. Do you know that person that lives there?
It's my
Yeah,
girlfriend's
hang on a
car, or my
second, Heather.
ex-girlfriend's group.
I'm going to give you a wrench real
He
quick,
first said,
and then
"That's
you
my
can
girlfriend's
post
car,"
it.
and then
That's
he
the only way you
corrected
can
himself and said, "My ex-girlfriend," correct?
post links, babe.
He made clear to you that that's his ex-girlfriend, right? Yes, that's the last thing that he said. Correct. And he didn't correct that.
Correct.
And he said she was there speaking with another man. Is that right?
All right, there you go, babe. Now you can post it.
He told you, as we've gone through, I think the state's gone through a couple times, she had fire in her eyes, right? Yes. You recall her saying, or him saying that about her, right?
Yes.
So I imagine one of the things that you did as a trained law enforcement officer looking to make sure people are safe and protect them is you investigated that.
Correct.
You went and spoke with her.
Correct.
You stood face to face with her
Correct.
from a short distance away.
Yes.
You made observations of her face.
Yes.
You made observations of her eyes.
Not specifically, but yes, I took a general overall look at her appearance.
Sure. And as general, when you're speaking with another human being, you have good eye contact, right?
Did you
Correct?
notice
Just as we're
fire?
doing right now, you're looking at me in my face and my eyes, right?
Correct.
Probably did the same when you spoke with Ezra on that day. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're making, again, observations of her entire demeanor, right?
Yes.
And at the end, based on your training and your experience and what you saw that day, you determined everything's good.
Correct.
You obviously didn't see fire in her eyes. Agreed?
Agreed.
Oh my God, I didn't think he was
When you
actually
spoke
going to
with
ask
her,
that.
You would agree, if we watch on the video, she was cooperative.
Yes.
She was actually apologetic.
Yes.
I think we heard her apologize to you in that brief period of time, at least 3 times. Is that right?
Yes.
Did not seem aggressive in any way, shape, or form. Agreed?
Agreed.
And at the end, we know she was thankful.
Correct.
She said
Thank you.
you.
I've learned a lot.
Yes.
Cooperative, apologetic, polite,
Having my
thankful. Those
back.
would all describe her, correct?
Yes.
And then otherwise,
No,
normal.
come on.
appearance.
You know I
Yes.
love
Do you
you.
recall what she was wearing that day for clothing?
Big baby.
I do not.
Would it perhaps refresh your memory if I showed you a picture?
I bet you
It
this
may.
officer
Okay.
would have got me
Showing you
KFC
the
if
mark
I'd
was
asked.
at 6:32. Do you
Yeah, and he
recognize that
also
article
would
of
have let
clothing?
you leave and get on my
I do not.
live.
Okay.
But I would have had KFC.
If you
I got to be
watch,
half full.
I'm gonna probably mispronounce her name. Is Hover? You watched her recording?
I have not.
Okay. Your recording, as we just saw, doesn't show Ms. McCandless in it. Agreed?
Correct.
It doesn't show Mr. Woodworth in it. Agreed?
Correct.
In your preparation for this, did anybody ever show you the recording which actually shows Ms. McCandless and Mr. Woodworth?
No.
Those are the only questions I have. Thank you.
All right, any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. A few things. Can we start again at 12:43:25 and continue until I tell you to stop?
Sure.
Thank you.
Might
Look at
Start
Officer
before that.
O'Neill. He's like, do we really have to play this video again?
And so they
Well,
told
they
you
have
park your
to
bike
feel
over here
awful.
and then walk over there,
I'm sure
look
they
around in
do.
that car. Do you know that person that lives there?
It's my girlfriend's car, or my
Okay.
ex-girlfriend. We're kind of in a situation, and since you talked to me this morning, because the guy that lives there is in.
Hey now, Gwen.
So
Pasco's
after
all
he
right.
says, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, he then says we're
We
kind of
could,
in a
it
situation.
could be worse. We could be
Correct.
in Polk County where they don't play.
Now, prior to March 20, you can turn off now, I'm done with that. Prior to March 22nd of 2018, had you ever met the defendant previously?
No.
So do you know for how she looked was different than how she would normally look?
No.
Oh my God, Vincent.
While you were speaking with Alex Woodworth, I assume, were you making observations of him as well?
Yes.
Can you tell us what, if anything, about him that
Yeah, he is, but
concerned you?
not Polk.
Nothing.
Can you tell us whether
Sheriff
or not
Grady,
you observed
he
Alex
doesn't- he
Woodworth
doesn't
at any
play.
point in time act in an aggressive manner?
He did not.
Can you tell us
But
whether
he's
or not
funny. He
you
makes me
observed
laugh. I just don't want
Alex
to be on the
Woodworth
wrong
act in
side of
any
him.
manner
Know what
that
I'm
appeared that he
saying?
was angry, upset, or potentially violent?
He did not.
Can you tell us whether or not Alex Woodworth was calm?
Excuse me?
Can you tell us whether or not Alex Woodworth was acting in a calm fashion?
He was.
Can you tell us whether or not Alex Woodworth was cooperative?
He was.
By the way, when the defendant was looking for her license, do you recall if she opened up the center console of the vehicle?
I don't recall if she did.
Okay, fair enough. Nothing further, thank you.
Any recross?
Just briefly.
Yeah,
you
he
said you
will, and
didn't
he'll make
know
sure
Ms.
he
McCandless
pulls
at
the
all, correct?
ugliest
That's what I
mugshot
know.
of you
You didn't know
ever.
Mr. Woodworth at all?
And if he
No.
can't get an ugly mugshot, you
You
take
were
that picture
what we would
until you
call
get an ugly
objective observer,
mugshot.
Correct?
Correct.
She's not your ex-girlfriend, right?
No.
You had no emotion involved at all in your decision, right?
Correct.
You're just there to make observations as an objective, neutral, trained officer, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. You may step down. Thank you, Officer O'Neill. And as Officer O'Neill, I assume would be released from subpoena.
He may be, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, officer. You have a good day.
Yes, Mo, I can hear you.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the Brian Laundrie where the cops stopped them.
Oh,
Like, you know, they gotta
yeah.
feel awful if
Yes.
they'd just done more. I feel like that's what he was pointing out. But
The
I don't
cop?
know why he would. No, the
I mean,
lawyer.
to the cop.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to get across to the jury, that had they asked further questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me say this. Just like with Brian Laundrie, okay? Officers, there is a such thing as officer discretion, okay? Meaning, an officer, if they pull you over for speeding, all right, it is at the officer's discretion. They don't have to write you a ticket, all right? And sometimes, if you lean and listen just right, you won't get a ticket. I know.
Well, yeah.
Okay. But with a case like what happened with Gabby and Brian, they're even held to a more rigid and higher standard now because of the body cams. Okay. So it isn't just your word and the officer's word. Okay. There's audio and visual evidence. And if you have somebody on a body cam admitting to a crime, there's only so much you can do. And in that situation, they worked within the law for the best outcome. And the thing of it is, even if they had arrested one of them, there's no guarantee that what happened wouldn't have happened anyway, because they separated them. He left. He went back to Florida, and then he went back. So
Right.
likely, it wouldn't have done a bit of good whether he was arrested or not. Now, with this situation, the reason he was called was because Jason Mengel was being nosy Rosie and snooping in Ezra's car. Okay. And that's what got them called. So once they addressed that situation, identified Jason, spoke to Jason, right? Then they go over there and they talk to Ezra and they talk to Alex. Okay. What were they supposed to do beyond that? I mean,
Oh, yeah, I agree.
you know, I'm sure as a human being, they're going to feel guilty because they're human and that's the way that it is. But I mean, yeah, not in a bad way. I mean, not like I've had like run-ins with them in a negative way where I've been, in trouble, but yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the way they operate. I have cops in my family. My uncle is a cop. So I've also, talked to him a couple times, like on a friendly level, not where I'm in the back seat and they're in the front. So not like that. But my point is that I think, and this is important, this is what the defense is trying to establish. There was no way that anybody could have predicted what happened next.
Right.
Whether it happened the way the state says or whether it happened the way the defense contends doesn't really matter, because it matters, but from that moment in time, there was no way that anybody was going to be able to. She didn't seem under duress. He didn't seem under duress. Everything seemed to be just fine. If anything, and you're leaning more towards the prosecution, that's even icier and colder of Ezra, that she was able to maintain that calm demeanor when she was moments away from doing what she ultimately did, right? And
Right.
she was, for lack of a better word, I don't even want to use this word, I just can't think of a better one right now, unflappable. So
Yeah, I think it was weird Jason was creeping about too.
well, what I thought was weird is that maybe I missed a step somewhere, but she was at Alex's house. Yes?
Right.
Okay. And Jason said Alex had assaulted her. Yes?
Right.
Like hours nonstop, Mom. But I thought the person who assaulted her was someone else.
Yeah, the other Jason. Jason
Okay.
Hansen, I think.
So she didn't.
But she
what we-
probably told him that.
But it was what I'm saying is, like, it was an allegation. There wasn't a report made, because she did actually make a report on the other guy, right? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think every time she got caught cheating, she says she was assaulted.
So, and it's interesting that he was worried for her. And yet, I don't know, this whole thing makes no sense to me. I mean, logically, obviously none of these people, well, maybe not Alex, but obviously Jason isn't thinking with his rational brain, and Ezra definitely wasn't. They were both coming from an emotional place.
Right.
I think, yes. I think, Heather, that's right. I think that's her MO. I'm kind of getting the impression, and I might change my mind because I do that frequently, but it feels like to me that Ezra finds herself in situations where she needs to be rescued, and she calls on different people at different times depending on the situation that's she called different people depending on what kind of situation she needed to be rescued from. Well, hey, Le Chat Noir, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're asking. What was it? Jealousy from Jason, or Jason had seen Ezra mad before? Like, you think he showed up because he was jealous? Or I see what you're saying. You're asking, did Jason show up because he was jealous, or did he show up because he had seen Ezra mad before? Maybe a combination of both. But what's interesting about it is two different officers showed up, and both officers were like, well, there's nothing going on here. So I'm just going to say it how it is, how I took it. I might change my mind later on. But when I listened to Jason speak, and this is the only time I've ever heard him speak, I found his choice of words odd. First of all, you're a medic in the Army, all right, or in the military, excuse me. you're saying you use the word you're paranoid. Paranoid is a word with a very specific connotation. And when you're speaking to somebody like a cop or a first responder, right? Paranoid means something different to them. But if you're a medic in the military, you would also technically be a first responder, and those words would send out alarm bells. Paranoid is a very, very specific word with a very, very specific connotation. It's not the same as worried. And that's the word he chose. He also chose to use the terms fire in her eyes. Listen, homeboy, are you writing a poem or are you talking to a cop here? Okay, because that does not explain anything. I mean, if you had further illuminated and said, you know, she had fire in her eyes, she looked livid, or she looked freaked out or scared or something, but to leave it like it's just weird.
It is weird, but I think he's weird. I think they're all weird personally, but
Yeah, but nonstop mom, paranoid doesn't just mean fearful. Paranoia is fear without cause, or an over heightened sense of fear to the situation. Like, let's say you partake in mota, okay? And the higher the THC, right, the more the better the chances are that you're going to have paranoia. When you have weed paranoia, okay, it's you're scared and you're in fear of not an actual real thing. Nothing's actually going on. It's all, you know what I'm saying? It's all in your mind. I mean, when you talk to somebody who deals with people in emergency situations the way that cops do, because even when you call 911 for an ambulance, depending on the situation, a lot of times they send out cops too. So it's weird that he used, maybe that's what he meant. It's just an odd turn of phrase. You know, it's a very, very, yes, Quinty. Wasn't even looking at comments and all of you guys. That's funny. Because I mean, that's the only way I know how to like really, you know, relate it to something. It's an imagined fear that there's no actual real danger or situation, but you know what I'm saying? It's just weird. Or like you sit there and you all of a sudden realize that your heart is beating, although your heart has been beating all day and for hours before that and days and weeks before it, and it suddenly all you can focus on is your heartbeat. Yeah, like that. Or so I've been
you
told.
can hear it.
Yes, or so I've been told. I saw it in the movie Friday. That's how come I know. Well, that's the thing, Heather, or Nonstop Mom. I think he followed her out there. I think I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong about, I don't know how he got out there. I will agree with that, Le Chat Noir. I think because of the way they're presenting the case, and I haven't, like, unlike some people, no, have not read ahead. Well, let me, Ellie 79. I don't know anything other than what I've been, yes, Cement Shoe. Other than what I've seen, we're missing a piece. I don't know why he was there. I don't know if they had. This has something to do with those paintings, right? Because she took a painting from above his bed, Jason Mengel's bed, and then there was the art swap situation, and maybe that's what happened. Maybe he followed her to Racy's, and then he followed her over to Alex's house, and that's when the fire in the eyes and and then he talked to the somebody else at the races and whatnot, and that's I don't know, because this is all a little too much for me. It seems kind of extra,
Yeah, it's very odd.
but that's all I know. I don't know if we should do this next one because it's kind of long.
I think some of it's outside the presence.
Oh, okay. Okay.
David Studing is the roommate.
All
So
right, well,
it
let's-
might clear some things up.
Yeah, let's hear what they have to say.
Tell us your name, please, and spell your last name for the court reporter.
Oh, wait,
David
I want to
Stodding,
say something else.
Steuding.
Hey, Shamita, are you still in here, babe? It is interesting. It's just, I don't know. This whole thing is, or something about Ezra is all I can say. Like, it's just the way it's the way people refer to her, the way they deal with her, the way they describe her. It's all very Log Lady Twin Peaks to me. Some of you won't get that reference. Some of you will. If you don't, you got to watch it though. Just Google it. I'm sure they got some clip on YouTube from it. She talks for the log. She gets messages from the log and she translates the log. But it's not like she gets the messages and then just relays them the way that I'm talking to you right now. It's sort of sing-songy and riddly. You just got to watch. All right, here we go.
All right. Yep. And where do you live, sir?
1804 Rudolph Road, apartment number 1A in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Where were you living as of March 22nd of 2018?
511 Cameron Street in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
And were you living there with any other individuals?
2 roommates, Matthew Schreiner and Alex Woodworth.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about that residence. How many bedrooms were there?
3 bedrooms upstairs, right next to each other.
All right. And can you tell us a little bit about the construction? How are the walls? I mean, were there
super thin? Like you hear everything, giggles, or you hear everything.
So if you're, can you give us the order as far as
Matthew was on the west wall. I was on the east wall, and Alex was in the middle of both.
All right. And were they kind of all the bedrooms all in a row?
Yes.
All right. So your bedroom would be next to Alex's bedroom?
Yes, correct.
If there was conversation going on in Alex's bedroom and you were in your bedroom, what can you tell us about what your ability would be to hear that?
I would be able to hear most, I don't think I could make everything word for word out, but I could hear comments and talking and maybe hear words, like some words.
Could you hear tone of voice if there was something that was loud or yelling?
Absolutely.
All right. And how long had Alex been living in that residence?
I would say roughly about 4 months, 4 to 6 months.
Right. And how long had you been living there with Mr. Schreiner?
I lived there for about a year.
Okay. And what type of relationship did you have with Alex? I mean, besides being roommates, were you friends, or were you just kind of like knew each other because you lived together?
Friends.
Okay. Is he someone you hung out with typically?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how about the defendant? Prior to December or March 22nd of 2018, do you recall having met the defendant prior to then?
No.
And do you recall, were you home the morning of March 22nd, 2018?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall if there was somebody, if somebody came and knocked at the door that day?
Yes.
All right. And do you recall did it happen once or more than once?
More than once.
Right. How many times?
At least twice.
All right. And did you see who the individual was both times?
Yes.
All right. And when was the first time approximately?
Well, 11 or 10 a.m.
Okay. And did you see who was knocking?
Yes.
And do you see that person in court here today?
Yes.
And where is that person seated, and what are they wearing?
A pink peach outfit. So
I'm sorry.
Peach blazer, it looks like. So.
Okay. As the record reflect the
peach.
identification of the defendant?
Fancy.
Right, the record will reflect that the witness has identified Ms. McCandless. That's the only peach blazer on that direction.
All right. And did you answer the door at that point in time?
I believe I did.
All right. And did you have any conversation, or did she come in and stay at that time, or did she leave?
She came in, not at that time.
Okay. She came in later?
Yes.
All right. You said there was a second time when someone was knocking at the door?
Correct.
Was it the same person?
Yes.
All right. And the second time, approximately how long after the first time was that?
At least 1 hour and a half.
Right. And when you heard the knocking the second time, what did you do?
I went downstairs and I looked at the door. I think I was in my boxers at the time. And so I went and walked to the bathroom and then I called up to Alex because I believe she asked me for Alex.
Okay. And can you describe the entryway to the residence, what it's like?
There's a porch that you come in. It's a 3-season porch. There's no windows surrounding it. There's just a screen door, a storm door. You come in, this has a window there. You can't really see anything throughout that. There was a couch in there going on the side. The door goes straight through and to open the door for our house to get in our house.
Okay. And so that area is enclosed.
Yes.
All right. And where did you see, when you looked out the window the second time, where did you see the defendant?
Sitting on the couch that we had outside on the porch.
All right. And then did you see if she had anything with her that she was carrying?
Yes.
What did she have?
It looked like a heating pad, like a blue heating pad and a water bottle.
Okay. And did you notice anything about her that drew your attention?
Anxious.
And when you say anxious, what do you mean?
She seemed like she was really in a hurry to talk to Alex or something, or there was some pressing issue.
Okay. And so then you yelled up to Alex?
Yes.
All right. What did you do at that point?
I think I took a shower for the day. It was my birthday that day. I remember that. So I was just lounging around trying to relax. I didn't work that day. So.
Okay. And by the way, sir, have you been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
And how many times?
24.
All right. Now, once you had you went back to your room. Did you go back to your room?
Yes.
All right. While you were in your room, do you know where the defendant went?
Yes, his room.
When you say his room, whose room are you talking about?
Alex.
All right. And could you hear anything of what was going on in that room?
Yes.
What were you hearing?
It just seemed like they were socializing.
All right. Did you hear any yelling?
Absolutely not.
Did you hear anything about what Alex was doing that caused you concern?
None at all.
What did you do then?
I believe after I got ready, took a shower, I think I left for the day. I went out the back door when my car was parked and I didn't really say goodbye to Alex. I think he was still in the bedroom with Ezra.
All right. Do you know if the door to Alex's room was open or closed when you left?
I think it was closed.
Right. And did you leave before or after the Eau Claire police arrived at the scene?
I left before.
So you never saw the Eau Claire Police Department there?
No, I did not.
Did the defendant at any point tell you that she would only stay there if you were there?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did the defendant ever tell you something like, I'll only stay if you're there?
I don't remember, no.
Nothing else from Mr. Stoyding?
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you. You and Alex were roommates?
Yes.
Did he move into the place you were living or did you move into the place he was living?
I moved in before him.
Okay. And then he moved in around January 1st?
Yes.
So you've been living with him in January, February, and that 22 days in March?
Correct.
And during that time, you've never met Ezra McCandless, agreed?
Never.
You and Alex had different schedules, is that right?
Correct.
Were you working at that time?
Yes.
Where were you working?
TGI Fridays in Eau Claire restaurant.
So you tended to work, I'm guessing, nights and weekends?
Yes, correct.
All right, and probably long hours on those nights and weekends?
Correct.
Are you working now?
Correct.
Where are you working now?
Shanghai Bistro in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Okay. So I want to ask you some questions about March 22nd.
Okay.
You're in the house and you hear the door knock.
Yes.
And you go down and you answer the door.
I did not the first time.
Okay. At some point you answered the door.
Yes, I just walked down. I think I was in my boxers and I took a peek out the door and I saw Ezra there.
Okay. When you saw Ezra there, did you open the door?
No, I don't believe I did.
Okay.
I think it was in my boxers. I just kind of peeked out the door. So.
When you say peeked out the door, did you peek out the window?
There's a window to that. Also.
Okay. So when you chose to answer that door that second time, you didn't know who was there. You had to peek out the window to see. Is that right?
Yes.
And when you came down to peek out the window to see, you observed Ezra McCandless, correct?
Yes.
And at that point, you then hollered up to Alex in some manner?
Yes.
And then Alex came down and spoke with her?
Yes.
So fair to say you never had face-to-face contact that wasn't separated by the door?
I believe I did.
Okay. When was that?
When I opened the door.
So I'm confused. I just want to make sure.
Yes.
You look through the door that's closed. Is that right?
Yes.
You see that it's Ezra. Yes?
Yes.
And at that point, you'd never seen her, met her before, agreed?
No, I don't believe so.
And so you called up to Alex.
Yes.
And I think you'd said before, Alex had never even mentioned Ms. McCandless to you before, correct?
No.
You agree?
I agree.
So a person who you've never seen before, never met before, knocks on the door, you see her and you immediately call to Alex.
No. I opened the door and I asked, and then she talked to me and told me. So
Okay, so that was my misunderstanding. So
That's
then,
okay.
so then you open the door, and you had a conversation with Ms. McCandless.
Yes.
Brief one.
Brief.
She essentially says, here to talk with Alex. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you holler up, Alex, someone's here to see you, or something along those lines.
Yes.
And then you kind of skedaddle around the corner into the bathroom to protect your privacy.
Yes.
And then she goes up the steps, goes into the bedroom with Alex.
Yes.
The door is closed.
Yes.
And you don't hear anything strange or unusual at all.
No.
Just seems like a normal conversation, so to speak, right?
Exactly.
And what you're saying is that previous to this time that you've just described, someone had been knocking at the door before.
Same person.
Okay. And the first time that this happened, are you saying you walked all the way down and looked through the door to make an observation of the person?
I heard the knock. I think there was almost 3 times actually. It would seem like urgent is what I feel what happened. You know, I believe I saw her twice, and I think I heard the knock, and I assumed it was her. So it was really early. So
I appreciate your acknowledging you're making assumptions. I want to talk about the time that you said you saw her before you opened the door. Okay.
10 or 11.
I want to talk to you about that time, not what the time is. Do you understand?
Yes.
That time, what you're telling this jury is somebody is at your front door knocking urgently, correct?
Yes.
And you choose to not answer it.
Yes.
You just ignore it.
Nobody comes over unannounced.
You just ignored it. Agreed?
Yes.
You
Agreed.
didn't even say, Alex, you got somebody coming over.
I had no idea Alex had anyone coming over. So
But you did not communicate in any way to Alex, someone's knocking at the door.
no,
You didn't ask Alex, are you expecting anybody?
I don't think he cared if the door was not, somebody was knocking on the door either.
My question is about what you did, not what he cared. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah.
And so you didn't do anything when somebody was knocking at the door then, correct?
Correct.
You're upstairs lounging about in your boxers, correct?
Correct.
Laying on the couch,
Correct.
watching TV.
Yeah.
Were you doing something other than laying on the couch watching TV?
No.
Okay. So you're upstairs laying on the couch watching TV, and it sounds like you didn't want to get up off the couch. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
And so if you're upstairs lounging about on the couch and you don't want to get off the couch because you don't want to answer the door, you really wouldn't be able to see who's at the door, would you?
No.
Agreed?
Agree.
So other than the time that you open the door, you don't know who was knocking at the door previously in the day. Agreed?
No, I don't.
You agree?
I agree.
Those were just assumptions that you were making, correct?
Which is one assumption. I don't make any more assumptions than I said. There was 3 incidents, and I went down there probably about 10 o'clock, and there was probably about 11:30 is the next time I went down there, and the same person was sitting there on the couch.
Oh, there was a person sitting on the couch is what you're telling the jury now?
Correct. I said that the first time when the prosecutor asked me.
So someone's inside your house sitting on the
Yes.
couch?
I'm not in the house, well, that seems to me it's a porch.
I've never
It's part
been
of the
there,
house.
sir.
Yeah.
Don't want to argue with you. I've
That's
just
okay.
never been there.
That to me is like, you have to know somebody to jump on somebody in a porch in the house.
I'm not trying to jump. I'm just trying to gather what happened, sir.
I wouldn't, I'm just saying I wouldn't go to the second door. I'm just trying to explain the situation. There's a storm door. There's on a porch, you have to walk in the physical door, the next door coming in, you have to go to the next door.
So how many times that day did you go and physically answer the door and have a conversation with Ms. McCandless?
Once, but twice I saw her.
Okay. And so we've gone through the one time. This other time that you went to the door, you saw her is what you're saying?
The first time or the second time? After.
Just so we get, there's 2 times where you said you saw her, correct?
Correct.
And the second time, the time that happened later in time, is when you invited her in, she went up to Alex's room, right?
Yes.
We've covered that, agreed?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so I want to talk about the time before that, okay?
Okay.
Are we on the same page?
We're on the same page.
That time, did you speak with Ms. McCandless?
I did not.
So that time, you got up off the couch from watching TV and you went down to the door.
Correct.
And you're saying you looked through the door that time?
Yes.
And you saw that there was a human being there?
Yes.
You saw that it was Ms. McCandless?
Yes.
And you turned around and just walked back up the steps?
No, I did not. I went to the bathroom at that time.
Okay. And then after you went to the
I
bathroom?
looked, she had eye contact with me and I had eye contact with her. I didn't know who she was. I'm in my boxers. I went to the bathroom.
And then after you got out of the bathroom, you went back up to the couch?
Yes.
And you didn't go to your roommate, Alex, and say, there's a young lady down at the door?
No.
You just were like, I don't know who's there. I'm not answering the door.
I don't exactly remember, no.
Okay. Was Matt there that day?
No, he was not.
And the time that you did answer the door and you did speak with her, she appeared anxious, correct?
She looked like there's something going on, you know.
You said the word anxious, agree?
Anxious was one, yeah,
Yeah, you agree that she
I agree.
appeared anxious.
I agree.
And then she went up into the bedroom with Alex, right?
Yes,
And the door got closed.
yes,
And then it was normal from that point on, as far as you knew, correct?
correct.
You weren't there when her ex-boyfriend, Jason Mengel, walked into your house uninvited, were you?
No, not at all.
You don't know if everything changed after Jason Mengel showed up,
I don't know what happened.
because you weren't there.
No, I was not.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
Hold on one second, Judge.
I'll give you a moment. Okay, any redirect?
Very brief. David, can you tell us when you opened the door and spoke with the defendant, can you tell us whether or not she was looking around or was she looking straight at you? What was she doing?
She wasn't looking straight at me.
What was she doing?
She looked like she was getting up, like she wanted to jump in the house, you know, like, I don't know, just,
All right, thank you. That's all I
urgent.
have.
Okay, any recross based on that redirect?
Oh, for the love of Pete, don't do it.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stodding. You may step down.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Stodding released from his subpoena?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then you're free to go, sir. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay, we're ready for the next witness.
All right, pause
Could
it.
you tell us your name, please, and spell your last name for the court reporter?
All right, see, 42 minutes.
Oh,
There is no outside the presence of the jury. He lasts the rest of the time. I just looked, so it's up to you what you want to do.
let's just finish him up.
He's a bus driver, obviously.
I wasn't sure about that. I see that you labeled him as a bus driver, but you
Didn't notice.
the X and the Z that time. So now your observations as a clerk are unreliable. What's he talking about? Like, what's the bus driver here for? Was
I
there a
didn't
bus?
realize I put bus driver down until an hour after I said it.
No, but I'm asking you though, like, what's his deal? Like, is there a
You'll
bus
hear it.
involved, or is he what's happening here?
I don't really remember. I didn't pay attention to this one. That's the first time I really watched the roommate. I didn't know it was so hostile.
It was contentious. It was. Yes.
How many
Max.
people
Or
knock on your
Gwen
door
King.
and you go look at them and just walk away?
I mean, I've done it repeatedly. Well,
I
okay.
don't go look. I do an army crawl to the window and I peek out the blinds and then I lay on the floor as quietly as I can.
Oh my gosh, no, this is what Jen Lou does. Jen
That's
Lou
when I
comes
lived
out
by
of her
myself.
room and I look out the people, and 9 times out of 10, it is either a salesperson or somebody trying to get me to go to church, which I don't need either one. So I look out the people and then turn around and go right back to doing whatever the hell it was I was doing before, probably watching YouTube.
Yeah, but he has roommates and he made eye contact with her. Wouldn't you like yell to your roommate? Are you expecting somebody? Somebody's at the door. Not just be like, eh.
Yeah.
And did he say he was 24 when he got arrested, or he had
No.
24?
He had 24 convictions.
Oh my
They
gracious.
didn't ask about how many times he'd been arrested. They asked how many, if he'd been convicted of a crime before, and he said yes, 24.
Oh my gosh, this
Not
place
how
is crazy.
Right? They didn't ask you how many beers are in a case. The correct answer is 24. This guy's been convicted 24 times. That's a lot.
Now I want to know what for. Schmida.
Schmida. Send in the Schmida. I want to answer you, Gwen. Yes. Yes, she did. In fact, the morning that it happened, Schmida messaged me and she's like, I don't know anything about geography, but I know that this is where you live. And so I put WFLA was covering it. So she sent me the link to the YouTube channel and I was watching it. And then, okay, this is what happened. So then I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that is my kid's school. my daughter's school, right? So I'm like, let me text her and find out what's going on, because at that point they had not released her name. Okay. And so I text her and she wasn't answering. And I was like, why is she not answering? Now, keep in mind, I'm outside at this point. This is early in the morning. I'm having my usual 5-hour energy cigarette coffee combo. Okay. So I'm like, why is she not answering me? So I come back in the house, and it turns out, I'm sure this will be clipped and used against me at some point. She had missed the bus. And when I walked by her room initially, I didn't see her because she was scrunched way down in the bed and had the covers
she's
kind of
tiny.
up over her. She's tiny. And so then when I came back in the house, and she had shifted. So I realized, oh, there she is. She's in the bed, right? So I wake her up to ask her this. And so I'm telling her what's going on. She's half awake, but bless her heart, she went and got the tea for her mother. Okay. So she comes back and she's like, oh yes, Mom, it's Coach such and such. And this is, and yeah, I know her. And it's really sad because it was a total accident. Like, I thought it was going to go somewhere else, but it wasn't. It was like a total accident. It's awful.
It was awful.
It was awful.
And yes, Allie, 79, we know how you act when somebody rings your doorbell.
She comes in the chat.
Somebody's ringing my doorbell.
And it turns out it's Tazzle Dazzle selling solar paints or paints, whatever the panels, whatever the hell they're called. She was, Gwen. She was so young. And I do think I think it's just one of those crazy, just horrific accidents. I think when the person was driving and they were making that turn, I think the sun caught him in the eyes, that's not really good phrasing, but you know what I'm saying. I think that glare, I think the sun hit him right in the face, and I don't think they could see. And I think that's how they missed her. I mean, that's how it ended up happening. It's awful. Bless her heart. So sad. She was so 24, I think she was, right, Gwen? She was young.
Oh,
Just
wow.
awful. And the way that they were covering it. Yeah, JB, I'm talking to you. Sort of, I know they didn't have a lot of information to go on, but they had 28. Okay, yeah, it's still young. The way that he was reporting it was, obviously it's a dramatic situation, and I can appreciate that. But the way he was talking about it was like it was more than an accident, like maybe the person fled or something like that. Like, it's just the way he was reporting it. And the truth of the matter is, the news maybe didn't know, but the cops did, and it's the kid that hit her. He was 24 and it was an accident. Yeah. But it's just the way that JB reported it. And I also, JB, while I have your attention, I can't remember the guy that you're always talking with as a co-host that you have on frequently during the Gabby Petito situation, that you constantly threw shade about his hair at him. Don't do that. It's very rude. You're better than that, JB. Come on. All right. Here we go.
Chester Daniel Davidson, DAVID.
Okay, are these roommates, or is this a friggin' halfway
house?
house?
And I was just going to ask that. Do you generally go by Dan or Daniel?
Dan, yes.
Dan, all right. And Dan, are you currently employed?
I am.
How are you employed currently?
I'm a contract driver with Marathon Mail Service out of Rhinelander.
Hold on just a second. You're not a dummy. It's JB Buono or Buono. He works for WFLA. He runs he's on their YouTube, their Facebook. I think he's on the gram. He just he's the one that was reporting, whenever they were out looking at all the various places for Brian Laundrie and all that. He does WFLA now. I couldn't think. But he's I don't know. What are you saying really too? I've learned a lot.
Marathon Mail Service, Rhinelander.
And
That sounds like
how were
not
you
a bus
employed in
driver.
March of 2018.
I drove for the city of Eau Claire as a transit driver.
All right. And that bus driver, basically?
Correct.
All right. And how long had you done that?
I was there for a total of 3 years.
And were you scheduled to work on March 22nd of 2018?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall what time you were supposed to start work on that day?
I believe it was an early afternoon shift. My memory is correct. I think it's like 2:15. I think.
Right. And did you actually get your schedule and bring it up and provide law enforcement with that on your phone?
Yes, I did.
All right. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Showing you, Mr. Davidson, what's been marked for identification as exhibit number 532. Can you tell me what that is?
This would be a copy of my schedule off of my phone.
All right. And that was your schedule for, I included the schedule for March 22nd?
Yep, that's correct.
All right. Your Honor, I'd move the admission of exhibit 532 and ask for permission to publish that.
Okay. Exhibit 532 will be received, and you may publish that to the
All
jury.
right, and if we can turn on the screen. So that shows that on Thursday, March 22nd, it says 1:15 to 2:15. What does that mean?
I would have started my shift at 1:15 that day and worked until 2:15.
I think down right below that, it says March 22nd, 2:15 to 7:27. Is that your actual shift?
Yeah, I believe that is correct.
And then 1:15 would be is that when you would leave to get to work?
I'm sorry, I haven't seen this for a while. Extra comp paid. Okay, the DR/S is driver's room or shop time. So if I recall correctly, it's been a while since I worked with the transit schedule. I think that what I would have had there is I had 1 hour of comp time paid.
Okay, so you had an hour of comp time, so you didn't have to be in until 2:15.
That is correct.
All right, and so you started your shift at 2:15.
That is correct.
All right. Thank you. We can switch that off now. If you started at 2:15, where were you living at that point in time?
About 5 miles south of Menominee.
All right. And if you started at 2:15, what time would you need to leave from your residence to get to work on time?
Generally 45 minutes from the time I left home. I have 30 minutes of travel time, and I would usually arrive 15 minutes before my schedule started.
So if you're starting at 2:15, you'd leave sometime around 1:30?
No later than that, correct.
All right. And what route would you take to get to work?
Sure. Heading toward Eau Claire, I would leave on 420th and 410th.
You guys in the chat.
430th Avenue, and then County E into Eau Claire.
And
my
at some point in
gosh, you
time,
guys
you would
are
go
all-
past the area of 7616, 14th or 430th Avenue.
Yes, I would.
So got here, now why don't we put it over here?
Oh,
So we
no,
see
come
it.
on.
Exhibit number 282. You see there's kind of a brown mud road that goes up there.
Our pets' heads
Do you
are
recall
falling
that?
off.
Did you recall going past that kind of mud road on your way to work that day?
Well, that's a little different perspective than I had going down the road, but I believe I did, yes.
And approximately how long after you leave your residence would you get to that location?
Real close to
4:30.
7 minutes from my driveway.
All right. And do you recall, and again, so that we are clear on the location, do you recall a few days after March 22nd, stopping and talking to officers?
That is correct.
And did you talk to them in the area where you had seen the observations we're about to talk about?
Yes, I did.
All right. And so you said that's about 7 minutes from your residence?
Correct.
So if you left your residence somewhere around 1:30, it'd be a little after 1:30 when you go by there.
Correct, yes.
1:35, 1:37, somewhere in there.
Correct, yes.
As you go past that area at that point in time, do you see anything that draws your attention?
Yes, I did. As a transit driver, I interact with other vehicles and drivers all day
Hey,
long.
Amelia,
And so
good
this
to
was very
see you,
unusual to
babe.
me. And as I approached, there was a vehicle parked perpendicular to
You
the
missed some
road
really
in
good
my lane of
jokes.
traffic.
I'm not gonna
And so
lie to you,
it
babe.
was
You
just
missed some good
stopped there,
jokes. You're probably
and I thought
gonna
that
want to
was very
watch this
unusual.
at
All right, let's stop there a second.
another
Where was it
point.
in relation, we're looking again at exhibit 282, where was that vehicle stopped perpendicular to the road in relation
Exactly,
to that
cement shoes.
mud road or that farm road?
This is what
Directly
happens
in
when
front
you
of it, so it was
overmoose.
facing directly down that lane.
And do you have any specific, as part of your work for the transit authority, when you worked for Eau Claire Transit, did you get any training in making observations of other vehicles on the road?
Yes, we do. It's called Smith training. And one of the aspects of that training was to try to anticipate what other drivers are going to do. And as a part of that, we focus on trying to maintain eye contact with the other driver, just so that, for one thing, they are aware of our presence and it gives us some kind of an indication what their intentions are.
All right. And did you utilize that training and try
hard
to
not to
make
be
eye
aware of
contact
a
with the
bus.
operator
You
or
mean
the
they
driver
they
of the
taught you
vehicle
to
that
be
you saw
cognizant of
perpendicular to the
other
road?
drivers on the road?
What-
You had to take
what
a
happened when you
special
tried to do that?
class.
There was absolutely no response.
I think
Was
that's
that not included in driver's ed?
I'm approaching
Yeah, I think
road
that's
speed, obviously slowing down as I come to this vehicle because it's in my lane of traffic, but there was absolutely no acknowledgement of my presence.
And are you able to observe at least the gender of the individual that's driving that vehicle at that point?
Yes, it was female.
Right. And
You're
was
so
there
good
another
about that,
individual in the
Amelia.
vehicle?
Thank you,
male passenger,
sweetie. You guys are all great.
What do you do as you approach that vehicle?
I'm trying to anticipate
I love our
whether or not it's
chat
safe for me
group.
to pull out and
It's
go
the
around behind it.
best.
I didn't know
I
if
don't
this
care what
driver had
anybody
intentions to go
says.
forward or to go backward. And obviously, if they intended to go backward, it would create a problem for me. So I slowed down and moved over to the left and was finally able to get around behind.
And
Allie,
going back to
you and
What
I
a
are in
weird
the
thing.
same boat.
of
What a
this
weird thing. What, babe?
incident,
Sorry.
for a bus
would it be fair
driver
to say
to
your memory of
remember
the times and
this
when you would have done this
particular
would have been better
girl.
back in March of?
I don't think it was the girl. I think it was the
18?
True, that
vehicle.
would be
Remember,
correct,
she
yes.
had the aftermarket paint job, custom paint job
So
on that
you-
car. That's probably
he's-
why he took note.
Davidson, I'm showing you
Yeah,
what is the
he's
mark for
probably one of those
identification
ones
of
that
Exhibit
wanted to feel important
533.
and be like,
Can you
hey.
tell me what this is?
And this is a
Yeah.
written statement that I left with the investigators along the road.
All right. And you wrote this out at that point in time,
That,
correct?
that is correct.
And I want you to just take a look. And does it indicate on there what time you would have left?
Objection leading.
I'm an override in this particular instance.
Yeah, left home at 1:15,
And does it indicate what time you would have arrived at that area?
1:22.
Thank you.
And was that marked as an exhibit incidentally?
Yeah, that's exhibit 533. Do you not have any other questions for Mr. Davidson?
All right, any cross?
Yes, please, thank you. Mr. Davidson, I want to ask you some questions about this, but I'm going to put it up so we can all see it.
All right,
okay?
good enough.
How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
The best place to put it is back in here.
Well, I just love you guys. You guys are the best chat. I don't
You
care what
see Exhibit
anybody says.
282 from
This
there,
is the
Mr.
best,
Davidson?
Yes, I can.
best chat
Okay.
in all
You're
of the
familiar with this area?
YouTubes.
I am.
The top of this is north, correct?
That would make sense, yes.
And that, the direction over here by E7614, that's to the west.
Correct.
And as we go from left to right across the,
I'm kind of
Exhibit,
starting to wonder that myself,
you
cement
go from
shoes.
west
This will
to
be
east,
for the
correct?
reprice.
so I'm on the east
So
side. of that
everybody knows
exhibit
what I'm
oriented, is that right?
That would make
answering.
sense, yes.
And down by where I'm at is where you run into County Road.
I'm
E,
kind of,
correct?
I'm leaning that
So
way
you- When
too.
you're driving that day, you're driving from the left side of that exhibit 282
Yep.
to the right side of the 282.
Correct.
You're driving from the west to the east.
I am.
And you're familiar with Mr. Sippel's residence?
I drive by it, but I'm not familiar with the name.
Oh, okay. And you mentioned it in your report and maybe you just learned about it. through
Aw,
this case,
thank
correct?
you,
When you
Amelia.
spoke with the police, the first time you spoke with the police was on March 27th, is that right?
Oh, I've learned a
I
lot.
assume so.
Bless your heart, babe.
And you saw them when they were there at the scene.
Well,
as
we
you
were
drove by,
talking
correct?
about
Yes.
that
And
accident
at
with
that point,
the,
you've probably already seen some
at the high
stories on the
school, so
news
maybe
about
that's what it was.
something happening out in that area, correct?
That is correct.
You'd seen, I imagine, pictures of Ms. McCandless, correct?
Or maybe you were
That
just
is
shocked that I
possible.
didn't know my kid
And
missed a
since that
bus.
time, you've
I'm
certainly
kind of embarrassed about it
Seen pictures
myself.
of Ms. McCandless in the news.
I have not, no.
Okay. But at some point, you saw pictures of Ms. McCandless.
Yes. Yeah.
And so as you're driving from this direction to this direction, is that right?
That is correct.
Your vehicle, I was gonna put it, this purple sticker here.
These
You see that purple
these
sticker?
witnesses
You see
don't.
there's a D and a P
She
on it?
has no
There's an
never
arrow
mind for
forward.
these witnesses,
We
Max,
agree that that
because
The driver's side going forward and the passenger side. Does that
they're
make
not
sense?
makes sense.
testifying about Jason. The
This
only time
sticker
she
just at
pays
some point
attention
you're-
is when
you're
Jason
driving
is
along here in
mentioned,
that
which is
direction, correct?
interesting to me.
That's correct.
And that would be you, driver's side, you'd be on the left of that vehicle, correct?
That is correct.
And the blue sticker is the equivalent of the pink, it's with the passenger and the driver and the arrows, is that right?
That makes sense. Yep.
And this
I know,
sticker,
Amelia,
tell
I
me if get
can't
it
do
wrong, is
these bootleg
approximately
diagrams.
This car is much bigger than the road,
Yes, it is.
but it's approximately pointing in this direction, correct?
That is correct.
That
Yes.
it's orientated correctly.
That is correct.
And so the driver's side would again be on the left side, correct?
That is correct.
As you come from the west to the east, you're cresting a hill.
That is correct.
And then it's either downhill or flat during this 1,200-foot drive that you're making, correct?
Correct.
And the speed limit there is 55?
At most, yes.
Okay. And so you see a car, right?
Yes.
And you're a trained professional driver, right?
Correct.
It sounds like you have some training to try to make out what people are doing, correct?
That is correct.
And I would imagine the most important thing to pay attention to is the actual vehicle, right?
Correct.
Because the vehicle is what you're worried about, right?
Yeah, correct.
Right? And so as you're coming there, you're watching the vehicle, right?
Mhm.
Is that right?
I am watching the driver because the driver is control of the vehicle.
Sure. You're on this side of the driver. As you
Not if
approach,
I'm driving,
You're
just
on the
kidding.
opposite side of the driver, yeah, correct? So you're on the left.
Opposite
You'd have
side
to-
of the blue sticker. Yes, I'm on the opposite side of the blue
Yeah.
sticker.
So to be able to see the driver, you need to be able to look through the entire car.
That
Yes,
is correct,
Allie.
yes.
Oh my
And you're
gosh.
driving a truck?
Small pickup, yes.
My
What type of
husband
pickup?
got us
Toyota
a
pickup,
Bob
1991
Ross
Toyota pickup.
And what's the
calendar
what's the
for
model
this
of the
year, and
Toyota
it
pickup?
has the
Well,
best
at that time,
sayings,
it
you
was just a
guys. You
pickup.
got to get a Bob Ross calendar. They're
so
great.
fair to say though that the pickup, you're up above the car, up above, higher than a typical
No.
car.
He does look like
You're not at
Stephen
all?
King.
It would be similar to a Toyota Tacoma.
His
It's
glasses
small
are a little
subcompact
smaller,
pickup, so it's the same height as a
but he
subcompact
does
vehicle.
favor.
And I appreciate that. I wasn't clear in my question. The
Mhm.
seat in that vehicle is higher than a seat in, let's say, a Chevy Impala, correct?
Well, maybe an inch or two, not much.
All right. So you're saying that the seat on a pickup truck is at the same level as a seat on a sedan.
On my
Okay,
pickup,
he wasn't
yes.
even
Okay.
driving the bus.
And so as you're driving along there, you move around the vehicle.
What was
correct?
he
That is
doing?
correct.
And you spoke with the police about this on March 27th, as we've heard.
He was in his truck on his way to
You were
work.
asked questions about, correct?
Oh.
That's correct, yes.
And when you spoke with the police on March 27th.
So they brought
you
up the
wanted to
bus
give them
driver
accurate
and the
information,
paying
right?
attention to
correct.
other people
And
on the
when you
road. I get
spoke
it
with
now.
them then, things were fresh in your mind. Agreed?
Fresher than today, probably, so yes.
Yeah, certainly fresher than today, right? And I believe what you told them was, you told them there was a male and a female in the front seat, but you couldn't recall who was driving. Is that right?
There apparently is a misunderstanding because I knew who was driving.
Okay. So you disagree. You did not tell that to the police on March 27, 2018.
If that is what I told him, I misunderstood the question.
Okay. And so you do remember speaking with Sergeant McRoberts, correct?
I don't remember names, but I spoke with several.
You remember,
investigators,
you
yes.
remember speaking with Mr. McRoberts, or you remember speaking with a law enforcement
I
officer?
do, yes.
And you remember him asking you questions?
I do, yes.
You remember him giving them answers?
I do.
And one of the answers that you said, you're saying it might have been accurate, but you agree that you said, I couldn't recall who was driving.
I do not recall saying that, no.
Okay.
And you are correct.
And again,
Coolest
if that's what I
reviews.
said,
When
it
did
was
you think
I misunderstood the
here?
question.
So
We've always been
at
in
this
here. If
point,
I've
your
been
memory,
talking to you, I feel like
you
I
remember now
have, but
seeing the person who
I
you
don't
saw on the
know.
news with their picture up there, right?
No, I vividly remember a female driving the vehicle and a male passenger. That image is clear in my mind.
And that image was something that you'd seen the person before on the news, right? Is that what you'd said?
That would have, I'm trying to think, because there was two occasions when I spoke with individuals there.
I would
And I'm
love
not
to meet
sure
Stephen
If I
King.
had seen a picture on the news on the first encounter I had with investigators, I could not say.
I happen to enjoy crabby
told the
people.
police
I
that you
can
couldn't
usually
recall the
get
color or
crabby
make of
people
the
to
car,
be
is that right?
uncrabby.
No, I told him it was a light colored vehicle.
Wonder if I could get Stephen
That's your
King
memory
not to
today
be
that you
crabby
told
with
that.
me.
That is correct.
What's going to
Small
happen?
sedan.
Worst case scenario, I meet him. He's crabby. He
But
makes
you
me
did
mad.
not, I
And
just want to make
I
clear, I'm
say
not trying to
something
attack.
rude
I just-
back.
You're saying you did
Yeah.
not say to the
Regardless,
police,
it'll be
I
fun.
can't recall a color or make of the car.
I told him it was a light colored vehicle, but I'm sure I told him I could not identify the make of the vehicle.
Okay. And are you, again, I just want to make sure I get the facts straight. Are you
Certainly.
saying that you did not tell them, I couldn't recall who was
Oh, I
driving?
love his
If
books,
I
Question
could
asked
Nonstop
and
Mom.
answered.
Sustained and asked and answered.
You made out a written statement as well about that?
Uh,
On that day on March 27th, when you were there speaking with the police,
I
you
did
made
make
out a
a-
written statement?
I made out a written statement, yes.
They gave you a pen
Correct,
and they gave you a piece of paper, which was marked as Exhibit 533, correct?
correct.
It's very
No,
simple,
they gave
correct?
me an ink
Correct.
and quill.
And they asked you to write down everything you could remember, is that right?
I don't recall if they asked me to write down everything I could remember. They just asked me to write down some of the details that we talked about.
And wax so
And
I
so
could
you had
put
time
my
to do
seal.
that?
That's correct.
You weren't in a rush on that day, agreed?
I was on my way home from work. I was not wanting to take longer than I had to.
Sure. But you weren't in an immediate rush. You didn't have an impending appointment or anything to get to other than just after a hard day's work, you, like the rest of us, wanted to get home.
I wanted to get home, yes.
But you'd also stop to pull over because you wanted to be helped.
That is correct.
So you wanted to put down in your statement the things that you thought were important, correct?
Details I thought were important, yes.
And the details that you wrote when you had the pen in your hand on that day trying to put down what was important is, my recollection is that a female and male, maybe mid-20s, in the front seat with their focus down the driveway.
That is correct.
That's what you wrote,
That
correct?
is correct.
You never wrote on your plaintiff's exhibit number 533 in your written
I
statement.
have, yes,
You never wrote, I have
close
a clear,
reviews. I do paint.
clear
I haven't painted
recollection
in a
of who was
long
driving.
time.
Agreed?
I
did
haven't
not
done
put that
anything
on
with
paper.
my
You
art
did
in a
not
very,
write
very
in
long time. But
your
the most
statement on March
creative
27th
I get
that there was a female that
is
was driving.
the
Apparently I
videos.
did not write that down.
But yes,
Move for the admission of exhibit 533, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, exhibit 533 will be received.
Those are the only questions I have, Judge.
Okay, any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor.
and when I was
Mr.
younger,
Davidson,
I used
you
to
still- do you still
religiously
have
watch
exhibit
Bob
533 there?
Ross
Yes, I do.
on
Could you read
PBS
the
13.
first paragraph, what you wrote?
Certainly. Traveling to work on Thursday, March 22nd, I passed by on 430th Avenue and noticed a small sedan parked in the driveway pointing south. Most of the vehicle was in the eastbound lane. The vehicle was square with the road. My recollection is that a female and male, maybe mid-20s, in the front seat with their focus down the driveway. I never saw any movement.
Well,
of
I've
the
learned a
vehicle
lot.
or
If you
the
remember
occupants.
at 3:00 in the
And
morning, babe, just leave me a
Anywhere in there do you
comment.
say you couldn't recall who
That
was
way
driving?
you
I
have
do not.
resolution and it's
And
out
when
of
you
your
describe
brain.
it as a
And
female and male, is that in,
then I'll
is there
know.
a particular reason why you
Win-win.
use that order for the individuals?
I would assume my
Objection.
focus when I was there was on the driver.
Hold on.
And
Objection.
that would be my assumption.
Objection.
Whoa, 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 whoa. So there's an objection, we just have to have you
Oh,
stop.
I'm
That's
sorry.
appreciate it.
Whoa.
But, okay, what is the objection?
Speculation. He said he was assuming things and obviously has no foundation then to make.
Okay, well, I'll sustain on that.
Do you know, let's put it this way, do you know, don't assume, don't guess, but do you know why you would have put it in that order, female and male versus male and female?
Again, my focus was on the driver. That was the individual I was concerned about because I was trying to anticipate what she was planning to do is with the movement of the vehicle.
And is that why you would have put female first?
That would be reasonable, yes.
Well,
Thank you.
listen, I
Nothing
hope
further.
that I hope the
Recorrect.
Oh, wait,
same
I'm sorry.
thing. Coolest reviews.
Okay, Mr. Nelson.
So again, when you said that, fair to say that that's an assumption, correct?
Your words, not mine.
And I appreciate that, but I'm asking for your words. You had said it would be reasonable. Previously, you said assumption, then you said it would be reasonable, which leads me to think you don't know actually why you wrote it down that way. Is that fair? As you sit here today, you don't know.
I know that the female was a driver.
I appreciate that. I'm not asking about that, sir. I'm asking about your written statement that Mr. DeFore asked you about.
Right.
As you sit here today, you don't know why you wrote those two words in the order that you did. Agreed?
It would not make sense for me to have done it otherwise, but
I appreciate, again, you're using deduction and induction and logic. My question is about your knowledge. You would agree, as you sit here today, you don't know why you did it that way.
Just say correct. You're not losing anything and it doesn't make you look bad. It's fine. It was a long time
I
ago.
guess I can't answer that.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Davidson. You can step down. Is Mr. Davidson released from his subpoena?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're free to go, sir, and release from your subpoena. Have a good day.
All right. Please hold.
I don't know why they labeled him as a bus driver. I mean, I know why, but that made it sound like he was driving the bus.
It did. It was misleading. We should write a letter.
Well, I wouldn't have put bus driver if I knew that. Whatever.
I think this is my thing with that attorney is that he is working very, very, I mean, he's working hard for his client. I'm not going to lie. I have to give credit where credit is due. And the people that are trying to, specifically witnesses that saw Ezra, that saw Alex that day, specifically, he is determined that the details of what they saw are correct, which is why he was so contentious with the 24 counts of, or 24 convictions roommate, because his testimony was a little confusing. And how did you see her? But then you talked to her, but then you didn't talk to her, and then you were in your boxers for the birthday shower, and you know what I'm saying? Like I understood where he did it, why he did it. I don't like the tone he took to do it. Do you know what I mean? It was really condescending, and I don't think it was necessary. And I promise you, if I picked up on it, and I'm the lover of all things loopholes, I will find a loophole, and I'm picking up on it, then I'm sure the jury did as well. And it does come across as disrespectful and rude,
Mm-hmm.
and probably should change tact. You got to
Yeah.
be likable. You're telling your client's story all the way up until unless your client doesn't testify, but in this case, we know she does, right? But you're telling the story for your client. Most of the time, the defendant doesn't testify. So you have to become, personable to the jury. That goes a long way. I was talking to the girls the other day, and like I do every day, and I made a comment, wouldn't this be crazy if some lawyer from some crazy firm stumbled on my little YouTube channel and offered us all a job to be jury consultants, like devil's advocate, but without the evil and the devil, obviously. I think that would be I would love to have a job like that. I could tell them, no, you're rude, and I wouldn't like you. Now, I'm not petty like that, but I'm telling you, I could get over it, but most people can't. Once you
Right.
make somebody mad, that's that.
Yeah. I don't think he needed to be so mean to the little guy that just saw him driving, but I know why he was. Because he was trying to put doubt in their mind of who was driving.
Exactly. Who was really in control. It's, he's doing what he has to do for his client, and I give him props for that.
Yeah, because the lady's the same way.
Yeah, they're fighting for her, and they should be, and that's what you want to see with an attorney, but it's a very fine line. You don't want to alienate the jury.
Yes, but see, I like it, so I guess I would see it different.
I do like
with,
it.
Who are we talking about? Parton's case. Her
Oh, yeah.
lawyer is like that too, and I was watching it on another channel, and people were saying they didn't like her and how she was rude.
Mm-hmm.
But she was making her points.
Yeah, and I often wonder, though, we're watching it, obviously, the way we're watching it. We were not physically there. And I always think that even there's been a couple of times I've been listening for something that I said in a live or something, or when I was putting together that clip video for the roasts, and I was listening to our roast back. I always catch something on the replay, right, that I didn't catch the night that I did the live, and I was there. So I always think that you have a different perspective when you're physically in the room versus watching it on TV. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering if we're finding it intense this way, how intense the jury must be finding it. And that's the other thing, is that if the jury gets too distracted by why are you being so rude, or why is that, especially with the roommate, that contentious exchange, because the truth of the matter is it was distracting to me and I missed some of the information that he said. That's why you don't want to do that.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Vincent's missing ear. You can. And and I think he should probably work on that for his next, for
Well,
his
it's
next
also
client.
intensified sped up.
That's true. But it's not sped up that much. We're only at
Right.
1.25. It's barely anything. It's just, you can hear it changes the speed of which the sound comes out, but it doesn't change the tone. Maybe it might make the pitch a little higher. If anything, a higher pitch would come across as less obstinate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can hear his tone, and that's okay. I think he's a good lawyer. I think he's a very good lawyer. But you know, just some little observations from Jen Lou. I really want to see. I'm so I kind of the only thing I want to watch really from the prosecution that I'm really looking forward to is Jason Mengel, right? But the thing that I'm the most anticipating and the thing I'm looking forward to the most is the defense. I want to see what he is going to use to attempt to prove to the jury that it was self-defense.
Yeah, I'll start on the defense tomorrow. I just almost finished with the state. I think you'll enjoy the lead detective that interviewed her in the hospital too.
Okay. And yes, Vincent's missing ear. You're absolutely correct. And I think what he was implying is were you doing something else in your boxers? What I think he was actually implying is, I guarantee you he knows what his background is. And I'm sure that it has something, it's likely drug related is what he got convicted of. He doesn't come across as a, hardened criminal, like, a violent criminal. And that's probably what he was asking about. Were you distracted because you're, smoking
Right.
a little mota for your birthday? Happy birthday to me.
Oh, that might have been why he didn't open the door.
That might have been exactly why he didn't open the door. Maybe he didn't bring enough for the class. I don't know. But I've decided that I'm not taking any more breaks from this trial because there's still so much to go through, and I want to see it through to its conclusion. And if I keep monkeying around and taking breaks, I'm not going to be able. We're not going to get through it. And so I'm not taking any more breaks, but that also means that it might take me a little while to make the next video for it to be ready. So,
And that also means if something comes up, she will put it in her community post.
yes, she will. I will. And I want to thank you, Nonstop Mom, for bringing that to my attention, because I didn't think of that. And I realize I should have. And I want to apologize because I didn't think of that. And I should have let you guys know, hey, looky here, your girl,
Well, I should have said something too, because I was looking on the community. She didn't even tell me, Nonstop Mom, so don't feel bad. I was looking on the community post too. I kept refreshing.
I keep forgetting about the community post, to be honest with you guys. I hardly ever use that. I don't know. I just no, but well, thank you, Nonstop Mom. I'm just so glad that you said something. I really am, because it would not have crossed my brain. And I don't know. But anyway, I keep forgetting that I even have a community tab. So I hardly ever use it, and I need to be better about that. So I'm glad both you guys spoke up. And you guys can always email me and stuff. It's in the about section. You guys can, if you need anything or you have questions or whatever, or a suggestion, you're more than welcome to hit me up in the email. No worries about that. But I think for tonight, I'm going to say nighty night and sleep tight. And thank you guys for coming. I love our chat. We have the best chat. I have the most fun with you guys. I really do. You crack me up. And then we have the humor, and then we have the serious, and I love it. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you, Mo, for being here.
Thank you.
And I think 8:30 is a good time for us. So I'm going to start coming live at 8:30 for the rest of this case. All right. Good nighty night. You guys have a rest of your good Saturday night, what's left of it. And I will see y'all tomorrow, same time, 8:30. Okay, bye.
Bye.